ever gets any simpler. Why is that? Hi, Mike C. the Scout. Not ignoring you. Just give me a minute. Doing that social media thing. I'll be with you in a minute. There. Now let me just get my stuff situated here. How's it going, Mike C. the Scout? How's it going, sir? Everything tickety-boo? Hey, AKL. Old habits die hard. Order 42. Rob, this is your fault. This is your fault. Watching you try out all those vape flavors on your live stream is why I'm doing this again. But at least now I'm using a little one that doesn't have near as much cloud, and I'm on barely any nicotine at all. I almost don't feel this. It's more just the repetition. So we'll wait for a few more people to get in here. I started early tonight because honestly, I don't know how long I'll be able to maintain this. So I just wanted to get it done while the getting was good and hope that I can go the distance. So, I'll go until I can't do it anymore, or I'll go until the 3-hour mark is up. And I'm having carpal tunnel problems again today, so I'm just falling apart. Guys, I'm just falling apart. Six viewers. Have you considered that FUM thing? What is FUM? I don't know what you're talking about, Mike. What have you been up to lately? I've been sick. Very, very sick and very, very tired and not feeling up to sitting in this chair. That's what I've been up to. Otherwise, I've been up to about 5'8". Nothing's really changed there. I'll explain everything as soon as we get, like 10 or 11 people in here. Otherwise, y'all want to ask some general questions, fire away. Hey, Retro Code, how's it going, sir? I don't know what 8th's playing, but it's loud. Probably Crimson Desert. He has become completely obsessed with that game. Crimson Desert. He told me that the reason people are having a hard time getting into it is because once you've leveled up a decent amount and you've unlocked some of the skills, what you figure out is you're supposed to play combat like it's a fighting game. not like it's an open world action adventure. Fum is pronounced fume. It's a smoking thing that apparently has flavored smoke. YouTube sponsor it, isn't it? Oh, I've seen those. How you like it? I played it a good bit when it first came out on Series X, but I just couldn't stick with it because it didn't have the humor of Fallout. It didn't have the sense of exploration of Skyrim, and I just couldn't stand having to play it at a locked 30 frames per second. So one out of those three problems has been fixed. Hi, Cap. Hi, Blaze. Hate how everyone is sick. I got sick last Saturday, missed Easter. My sick's a little bit different. I'll get around to it. Is the combat for Crimson Desert like Ninja? No, it's like a fighting game. I mean, you can play it as a straightforward hack and slash, and then the closest thing I could attribute the combat to would be sort of a mix between Arkham Asylum and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But once you start unlocking some of the more advanced techniques, it's like playing a fighting game. You have to do certain button combinations to get specific moves to happen. I haven't gotten to play it at all. I've only got to watch 8th play it, and he really likes it. He's really taken to it. I've been playing a bunch of different things. One of which doesn't have a physical edition, which is mildly annoying. Because I would like to have it on physical, but I guess that's not going to happen because I waited a good long while, and they just weren't releasing one and weren't releasing one. And I was like, screw it, I really want to play it. I'll go against my own code and buy the digital copy. Well, I wear sunglasses all the time, Blaze, because I have an eye condition. I saw that you were playing a 7 Deadly Sins game. I didn't know you liked that anime. I liked the first season. I hadn't liked any season since. And it was a free-to-play game, so I thought I'd try it. And turns out it's a gacha game. And so you can get about 17 hours into it before it makes it an incredibly super slow slog to get where you need to go without buying stuff. And I was like, nope, you're not doing that to me, and I deleted it. Anyway, I'm starting early today, so it's Saturday, April 11th, 2026, and this is the 7thCast. As always, I'm your venerable host, your friendly neighborhood 7th. 8th and the dog are up in their room, doing their Crimson Desert thing. So, where have I been? Well, as I told you guys, my doctor, had told me that it was his intention to put me on one of these GLP-1 shots. And so I had to go and get a bunch of blood work done. And all the blood work came back good, except for, of course, the fact that I'm still diabetic. And so he said, okay, since you already have a degenerative eye condition, the one we're going to go with is MOUNJAROOOOO because he said, first of all these class action lawsuits and all this stuff is mostly bullshit. He said a lot of the side effects that they list that they're suing for are side effects that type 2 diabetes people that are already on some form of diabetes medication like Jardiance already get those symptoms, which is true because I get most of them already. I've had appendicitis, I've had stomach paralysis, those kind of things ever since I started being type 2. Along with kidney stones and gallbladder attacks and things like that. So none of that is new to me. So he prescribed it for me. And I took my first shot 3 weeks ago. And let me tell you, taking the shot is easy as can be. It's this simple plastic thing, almost looks like an EpiPen for people that have allergies and they carry them around for an allergic reaction. They look like that. Only the needle is just teeny, teeny, tiny, and you can't even see it because of the way they're designed. The thing has a little gray platform on the bottom of it, so you just swab off where you want it to go. You hold that down against your skin. You turn this little thing to unlock it, and then you press and hold the button, and you'll feel something that just feels like it tapped you. And then when it clicks again, it's done, and you take it off. You don't even feel it. You don't feel the needle at all. However, one of the side effects they don't talk about a whole lot is that it can cause heart palpitations and increased heart rate, which I already had heart palpitations and increased heart rate. And so I was feeling fine the night that I took the first shot. I woke up the next morning and my pulse rate was 100 beats per minute, which is normally what you'd have taking a brisk run. And every few minutes, my heart would skip a beat. When I'd get up to walk around, it'd shoot up to 120, 130 beats per minute. And so I was walking around feeling this in both the front of my chest and in my back. And, you know, you feel like you just finished a run, so you're kind of exhausted and drained. But I feel that all day long. So I didn't feel like doing anything but going to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, laid back down in my chair, and I slept for 6 more hours. I slept that whole Saturday afternoon away. By the time I woke up, time to do 7thCast over already. So that went on for 3 solid days before I finally evened out. And so then a couple of days later, I take the second shot, because you take them once a week. And this time, the first one I took in my thigh, because they said that was the easiest place to start with. The second one I took to the right of my belly button. And I guess because I'm shooting it in closer to the stomach, instead of it taking overnight to take effect, it took effect in an hour, and same thing again. But this time, instead of lasting for 3 days, it lasted for 2 hours, and then I evened out. So yesterday, I took the third shot, and the third shot didn't do anything at all. So I guess I've gotten used to it. The only side effect being is that, you know, when I'm sitting around talking to you guys, I still feel kind of tired and blasted, but my heart rate is normal. I'm good. If I stand up, 100 beats per minute. Doesn't matter if I'm walking, doesn't matter if I'm standing taking a piss, doesn't matter. If I'm up on my feet, 100 beats per minute. So but even that is getting to where it's not bothering me like it did when I first started. But it's still, you know, it's kicking my ass, but it's not kicking it too bad. So has this experiment been worth it? Well, first of all, they start you on the lowest dose, which is 2.5 milligram. So I've been on 2.5 milligram this is going into my 3rd week. So far, I have consistently lost 4 pounds a week. I lost 4 pounds the first week. I lost 4 pounds last week. And I'm on the lowest dose. So, in theory, in fact, you can't see it. You can't see any weight loss yet because, of course, 8 pounds ain't going to do nothing to make you look skinnier. But if I maintain that, an average of 4 pounds a week, I will have reached my goal weight of 200 pounds in 9 months. And again, I haven't even gotten to the dose where you're supposed to start losing weight yet. I'm on the lowest dose that's just supposed to get your system used to the medication. Now, there's some other things that I've done on top of that. I have a once-a-day electrolyte mixture that I drink in water. I have started taking a 50 and up male multivitamin, because I'm old. AARP brand. I'm kidding. What else did I do? One of the concerns with taking this medication is that if you're not a gym goer, you're not going to the gym 3 times a week and pumping iron or whatnot, there is a concern that your system will start eating the muscle instead of eating the fat. And so they recommended that you increase your protein intake. And so, I've adjusted my meals to where it's mostly, meat and a veg, as opposed to just eating whatever. And I've bought these low sugar, low carb protein bars. And they taste like lemon pound cake, which I'm Southern. I love me some lemon pound cake. So that was good. And I've increased my fluid intake, because one of the biggest concerns, one of the things that causes most of these side effects, really, is dehydration. So they want you drink all the time. And, people tell you, you need to drink 8-ounce glasses of water, 64 ounces a day. For a guy my weight, it's 175 ounces a day. That's like 20, that's like somewhere around 10, a little bit less than 10, 20-ounce glasses. That's a lot to drink in one day. The most I've been able to manage so far is about 6. So I'm trying, but I'm not necessarily succeeding. And then last night, here's a big change. Usually I'm only able to manage about 4 hours of sleep. But last night, I got on a movie watching kick, and I was having trouble getting sleepy. I fell asleep at 3 in the morning. I woke up at noon. I slept 9 straight hours, which I couldn't even tell you the last time I slept that long in one stint, uninterrupted. So there's some changes going on with me right now. They're just kind of tiring me out, where I don't really feel like doing anything. But I realized it was getting to where it was almost a month since I'd been on here, so I needed to do something, which is why I'm here now. So that's where I'm at. Has my appetite changed at all? Okay. Once the medicine kicks in, you don't get hungry at all, ever. If you eat, you have to make yourself eat. And that's the other thing, is that you have to be very careful about that, because you can just be going along with your day and just not notice that you haven't eaten anything in 12 hours because you don't get hungry. Except that this medication is a 7-day medication, is what they tell you. But it actually stops working around halfway through the 6th day. And then you start feeling hunger, which, you're already eating. I'm eating twice a day. So, that gets quelled just by eating breakfast and eating dinner. But what also starts back up halfway through the 6th day is what people that are on this stuff call food noise, which is like your head, little thoughts in your head saying, hey, there's still some pizza left in the fridge. Hey, there's a can of Chef Boyardee in the cabinet, that kind of stuff. All of that goes away until the medicine starts to wear off, and then you start hearing it again. You walk into the kitchen and you notice that, Eighth has left a bag of chips on the counter, that kind of stuff. And your head says, ooh, some chips would be nice. All of that goes away too until halfway through the 6th day. So you have to you just have to fight your way through that last half of the 6th day, and then the next day, take your next shot. So I'm down 8 pounds in 2 weeks. We'll see where I'm at this coming Friday. But my goal, the doctor wants me at 175 pounds. I'm settling for 200. 200 is where I want to be. If I get under that, great. But, I feel healthy at 200. So I will settle for that. Which, I'm a good ways away from that still. I'm a good ways away from that. So that's where I've been. That's why I haven't been feeling the greatest. That's why I haven't been doing anything. Because on top of everything else, if I'm up on my feet for too extended a period of time, I get kind of out of breath and I have to sit down. Now, because of my back, I was already to the point where I could only walk around for 20 minutes or so before my back would start bothering me. But now I can only walk around for 10 minutes or so before I get out of breath because of... So I'm hoping that evens out too, just like the fast resting heart rate. Oh, and it also made my blood pressure go up, but not to a dangerous amount. I am normally a very chill operator, okay? My regular body temperature is a degree below normal. My normal body temperature is 97 degrees, not 98.6. I'm almost 2 degrees below what normal people are at. And my blood pressure has always been around 127 over 60. Pretty low. Sometimes it would get down under that, like 118 over 50 something, but usually it's 127 over 60. When I was on this stuff, it was 140 over 86 that first week, which is still not even considered high blood pressure or dangerous, but it's high blood pressure for me because it's so much higher than what I'm used to. And normally my resting heart rate is around 60, not 100. So, and like I said, the heart palpitations are happening more often. They don't hurt, they just feel weird. Because the medication can affect the little thing on the back side of your heart that controls your heartbeat, how fast it beats, how slow it beats. Basically, it's your internal natural pacemaker. And the chemical that's in this stuff can cause it to fire off when it's not supposed to. And that's part of what's causing all this. Anyway, let's catch up real quick. Did your doc? Yes. Well, no, the doctor didn't talk about the heart stuff because he said, it was an uncommon thing once I asked him about it. Hi, Clean Frame. Sorry I've been gone. Well, I just explained how I've been, Dartarius. Glad it's been working for you. I'm glad it has been too. Hey, Ace of Horns. Been a while. So, that's what's been going on with me. I know you can't see any difference in me yet because how could you? It's just 8 pounds. Maybe once I hit 50 pounds, you'll notice a difference. I guess I could go through this stack of stuff because this is everything that I've picked up since we spoke. The last time we spoke, I had just gotten my annual bonus and was talking about the things that we were going to pick up and that I was going to save a whole bunch of it for Retropalooza. It didn't exactly work out that way because I ended up having to spend more than I thought I would. I got a new, which you can't see it from here, but I got a new LG B5 77-inch 4K OLED. I got a whole new sound system. I've got 5-speaker Polk surround sound systems. Got big tower speakers and a big long 5-speaker center channel. And then I don't know if you can see them, but like right there, I have 2 surround sound speakers that are on stands, and the other one is behind my head on to the right of 8th's recliner. So I got all that, and I got a Denon receiver. And right about that time, 8th started having problems with his receiver upstairs, which is actually my old 35 or 30-something-year-old Techniques receiver. And so I ended up spending another $500 to get him a replacement receiver and all the cables he needed for it. Then, when we found out that they were about to start raising prices on consoles, we went ahead and bit the bullet and bought 2 Switch 2s, one for me, one for 8th. So now we have Switch 2. Then, and 8th hasn't set any of this up yet, I had to buy like HDMI splitters and switches and stuff to go along. Right now, my audio is running off of the direct optical out from the TV. The downside to that is that sometimes the surround sound signal doesn't get interpreted properly, so all you get is stereo. So we're going to use an HDMI audio splitter to resolve that problem, but also get just a general HDMI splitter. That's 8th hasn't set all this up yet, to where I can have the Polymega routed to the TV. I can have the PS5 Pro routed to the PC, so I'll be able to capture and stream with PS5 Pro if I want from here with my face on the camera instead of over there, and that kind of thing. But none of that's been set up yet. Then my trash compactor stopped working, and then 2 days later, my garage door opener broke. I went and got the trash. Boy, was that hard. You wouldn't think taking the trash out and then bringing the can in would be a hard thing. But when every time you stand up, your heart shoots up to 100 beats per minute, not an easy thing. So I went down there after the trash had been picked up. I dragged the cart back in, and I went to hit the button to close the garage door. Door gets about halfway closed, and then I hear a clang, and the door just goes shoo, falls the rest of the way. And it wasn't the motor, it wasn't the chain. The clamp that connects the arm that connects the chain rail to the door, the top of the door, was just hanging loose with the bolt still in it. So I haven't had a chance to look at that, see if it can be remounted or what, but yeah. So, ended up spending a good deal more of it than I expected. So long story short, I don't have as much for Retropalooza as I thought I was going to have. So we're not going to be buying as big as we thought we would be. This stuff wasn't bought with my bonus money. This is just stuff that picked up through regular salary. And some of it I actually picked up before the last time we streamed, but I just hadn't gotten around to showing it to you. So anyway, got Starfield. I wasn't really a fan of it when I played it on Series X a couple of years ago. I wanted to give it another try to see if the PlayStation 5 Pro version is any better. The lack of comedy isn't any better. The lack of sense of exploration isn't any better. But the frame rate is much, much better. So I'm at least happy with that. I never had a problem with the shooting in the game. Shooting in the game is fun. Because, it was done by the shooting mechanics and everything were done by the people that do Halo. So, at least the shooting was right. Some of the rest, not so much. But I've not quite caught up to where I was on the Series X, my Series X save, but I'm getting there. This one really surprised me. This is Outcast: A New Beginning. This is a sequel to a game that came out for PC back in 1999, which was considered kind of revolutionary when it came out. It was a third-person sci-fi action adventure. Third-person shooter before third-person shooters were popular. Now, if you go back and play that game, yeah, it's very primitive. In fact, you can get it on PS4 digitally. Very primitive game. This is a sequel, and I was really surprised. I was genuinely surprised. It feels like an open world Mass Effect combined with Just Cause 4. You have a flight suit like in Just Cause 4. You don't have a grappling hook, but you have a flight suit, and you have a jetpack that you can use to get around. And some of the sci-fi elements and the RPG elements feel like they were taken from Mass Effect. But you're roaming around on this planet. And the storyline feels a lot like Avatar, even though the storyline is based on, is a sequel to the original game, which came out way before, it came out like 10 years before Avatar did. So when you play it, you're feeling like, wow, this feels a little bit like a ripoff of Avatar. Then you find out, no, this came first. But you can get this for $29. And I haven't even gotten halfway through it yet, and I'm like 20 hours in. So it's got plenty of gameplay to it. Shooting mechanics work good. Weapons are good. The special abilities are fun to play around with. And it's got a lot of exploration. Huge map. So you might want to give this one a try. The music in it is fantastic. Now, it is buggy, okay? It suffers from Skyrim-itis, where if you play it for more than 2 hours at a time, all the changes that you've made to the map start to hang on the memory, and so you start getting memory leak where the frame rate starts going to shit and the game starts crashing and stuff like that. So, what you want to do is play it 2 hours, turn it off, turn it back on. Play it 2 hours, turn it off, turn it back on. But other than that, I've had a heck of a lot of fun with this one. Then I picked up, let's see here, we'll do some movies. Young Sherlock Holmes. I've loved this movie since I was a kid. As far as I know, there is no 4K edition. Not in the United States anyway, but it doesn't really need it because this Blu-ray looks fantastic, especially on, when you've got upscaling on your OLED. Looks great. If none of you are old enough to remember this movie, but you were fans of the Harry Potter movies, you need to watch this. Having rewatched this for the first time in several years, I am convinced now that J.K. Rowling was a fan of this movie because there's so many similarities between this and the Harry Potter films. Look. Harry, Ron, Hermione. The structure of it is very similar. He's going to a school. He comes across a mystery. He's having to solve it. He's having to run from here to there. He's got kooky teachers. He's got suspicious teachers. It's the same thing, but without magic. So instead of a wizard, it's Sherlock frickin' Holmes. So yeah, if you love the Harry Potter movies, you need to watch that. Just because it's 1986 doesn't mean it ain't good. It's a lot of fun. It was produced by Steven Spielberg. Let's see here. You've been playing Bayonetta 1. Did you or 8th see the new Super Mario Brothers movie? 8th saw it. I haven't seen it. 8th said it was okay, but that he thought it was better than the first one. I'm playing a little indie game called Moonlighter. I've heard of it. Anyway, next up. David. This is a kid's movie, but 8th bought it for me as a gift. He said, I brought you home a surprise, and he gave me this. This feels like a Disney musical, but it's the story of King David. And I was expecting it to be, your typical Christian company made movie where it was going to be super preachy. No. It almost feels like it could be a CG prequel to The Prince of Egypt, or sequel to The Prince of Egypt. It has that same kind of vibe to it. A little bit more on the kiddie side than Prince of Egypt, but it still gets into some dark stuff. And I really liked it. I thought it was good. Now I'm going old school with this one. I would imagine a lot of you are not going to be familiar with this. Star Chaser, The Legend of Orin. This is a animated film from the mid-'80s. And, it's a bit of a Star Wars ripoff, yeah, but it's really good. I like it. And, of course, it's got, a Han Solo type character in it. If you liked Titan AE, you'd probably like this a lot. If you liked Fire and Ice from back in the day, you'd probably like this a lot. It's not a Bakshi movie, but yeah, it's worth your time. It's good. I like this one right alongside Rock and Rule. More old school. Don't know if y'all are going to remember this one or not either. This may just be me. Pray for Death, Sho Kosugi. Back in the 80s, when you had the peak of the ninja craze, Sho Kosugi was in almost every ninja movie there was. He played the villain Hashagawa in Enter the Ninja. He was the hero in Revenge of the Ninja. He was the hero in Ninja 3 Domination. He was the hero in 9 Deaths of the Ninja. And then he also had Pray for Death. Storyline's kind of hokey. Some of the acting's kind of hokey, but it's fun. I loved this one when I was a kid. And you got to love that slipcase. It's awesome. Also... if you're not familiar with Sho Kosugi, perhaps you have seen him because he played one of the old masters, one of the old ninja masters in that movie that the Wachowskis produced a few years ago, Ninja Assassin. He was in that. Okay, moving on. I had to have it. 4K Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Picture looks astounding. This is a great looking 4K. Fantastic. I don't have to tell you what this movie's about. You know. All right. The New Running Man. People have been complaining about this movie. I like it. I like it a lot because it's closer to the book. It still has some of that snarky satire sense of humor that almost feels like, Paul Verhoeven. It still has that to it, but I just like it a lot. I'm not saying it's better than the Schwarzenegger one. I just like it on the same... I like this one as much as I like the Schwarzenegger one. Let's put it that way. It's definitely worth a watch. This disappoints me. Why? Because depending on how a movie is processed when converting it to 4K, if it's an older film like this that was actually filmed on 35 millimeter, every time they change from a wide angle lens to a close angle lens, then all of a sudden all you see is it looks like you're watching the movie on a TV station that's not quite tuned in right, so everything looks like it's got snow around it, like just a bunch of billions and billions of little dancing pixels that can't seem to decide what kind of what color they're supposed to be displaying because they decided to preserve the natural film grain. So this one kind of looks like shit on 4K. I'm sorry, but it does. Hi, Alaskan dude. Let me catch up real quick. Watching Hunter x Hunter. I don't really watch either one of those. Hi, Alaskan. All right. Next up. Willow 4K Steelbook Edition. It's got all the special extra bonus additional features. I have not watched this one yet, so I don't know if it has the same film grain problem that this one does. A lot of the old movies that I've watched, because of the way they process them, don't look like that. And they also don't have that ultra clean AI assisted look that Jim Cameron's 4K conversions have. It's a nice in-between where you can still see the film grain, but it doesn't look all overly pixelated like this one does. This one I haven't watched yet to find out. Question: if we're in the digital age, why are there vinyl records? Because vinyl still sounds better than digital. And there are collectors who will always want vinyl. And there's so many that are wanting vinyl that vinyl is now in stores again. And part of that is because of the newest generation, the Generation Alpha. They have, and Gen Z and Gen Alpha have been rejecting modernity. You will see a lot of Gen Z people walking around with old-style Razor flip phones instead of smartphones because they don't like social media encroaching on their lives. And a lot of them have been ditching streaming services and buying everything on DVD and Blu-ray. And buying a lot of vinyl discs. So a lot of physical media is making a comeback. It's kind of weird. I don't think it's going to stop Sony from making the PS6 an all-digital console, but we'll see. We will see. I'm happy about it too. But I mean, you know, 8th, for example, he grew up loving physical media because of me. At the same time, he uses digital media because he has a Steam account and all of his PC games are on Steam. So he's like, got to find median there. Oh, yeah. Here's another one that's got horrible film grain in the 4K conversion. But it is really a really nice collector's edition. Red Sonja. Yes, I know it's a shitty movie, but I grew up watching it over and over again on TBS, so screw you. You gotta love that box art. Look at that. That's some Frank Frazetta stuff right there, man. That's some good looking stuff. It's got a lot of cool special features, and it has a the reason the case is so thick is because it's got this nice art book in it. So pretty nice. I had to special order that one. Yes, I special ordered Red Sonja. I also saw the remake of Red Sonja. It's okay. If you liked that movie from 1997 called The Conqueror, you'll love the remake of Red Sonja because it feels just like it. I haven't even opened this one yet. Evil Dead 4K. I had to get it UK version because they didn't have it in the US for some reason. But thankfully, PS5 Pro is region free. It'll play anything you shove in it. Same thing with the Xbox Series X. So I have my Xbox Series X put away as a backup region free 4K player in case my PS5 Pro should die. I had intended to buy a standalone 4K region-free Blu-ray player, but didn't end up having the money to do all that. Maybe next year. And of course, Evil Dead 2. I had to get that too. I don't have to tell you what Evil Dead 2 is about. Y'all already know. I know people hate this, but I don't give a shit. I love it. Dark Tower with Johnny Depp. I find this movie hilarious. I don't know why so many people hate it. I thought it was great. And yes, I watched the original. I've seen every episode of the original Dark Shadows soap opera, and I've seen every episode of the late 80s, early 90s reboot that had Ben Cross playing the vampire. I've seen all that too. And y'all might make fun of me for buying something that's so sappy, but I got this. Almost Famous. This has the extended 3-hour cut. And I don't know, man. I just really like this movie because for me, it feels like something you should watch right next to Walk the Line or Bohemian Rhapsody or Elvis. It feels like a rock and roll biopic, but it's about a band that never actually existed. But it is based on a true story because this kid is based on the guy that wrote it and directed it, Cameron Crowe. And I just really like this movie. It's also my favorite Kate Hudson performance of all time. She was something else, man. She was something else. You don't really see her anymore, but she was something else in her heyday. Very pretty, very pretty. Well, she looked like her mom, Goldie Hawn. But she was prettier than her mom, Goldie Hawn. All right. They're probably going to make fun of me for this one, too. But I don't care. I used to watch this all the time when I was a little boy on Saturday mornings. Because it was in reruns for years. And it ended up being part of the USA Cartoon Express for a while. So screw y'all. I wanted it and I got it. Scooby-Doo's Laugh Olympics. Every episode, Scooby's All-Star Laugh Olympics. I loved this show when I was a kid. And I've watched some of it. I still think it's funny. I don't care. Here's another one. No, I don't have Friday on Blu-ray. Was the family in Dark Shadows an Addams Family clone like them? No. Totally different thing, man. All right, ready? 7th, all 4K is region free. That's not necessarily true. When you have a 4K that has those European signs or it's not guaranteed to work in a US 4K player. That's why so many people use their PS5 for it. Now, regular Blu-ray, I still haven't had any problems with my PS5 Pro. I have 4Ks and DVDs from Malaysia, Russia, all sorts of different places. PS5 Pro plays them all. Doesn't matter. You stick anything in it, it'll work. The People Under the Stairs. Much less loved Wes Craven movie, but I think it's great. It's hilarious. It's a very funny movie. I'm not going to spoil it if you've never seen it to explain what it's about. But this is the special collector's edition. Has all sorts of special features and such. Now, I know people rip on this guy a lot, and a lot of it has been deserved over the last 10 years. But I liked this movie when I saw it. It reminded me of some things from my own teenage years. And so I decided I was going to get it because Amazon had it for $10. And that's Kevin Smith's The 4:30 movie. I just think it's a fun, simple little story. And it's got some good laughs to it. And it's not in any way connected to his View Askew universe. You don't see Jay and Silent Bob or anything like that in here. It's just a good, fun little teenage love movie with some comedy thrown in. I liked it. Now, this one, y'all have heard me talk about this movie before. This is another one that I've loved since I was a little kid. I first saw it on TV with my mom around 1983, maybe. And it's much older than that. That is Murder by Death. This movie was basically Clue, before Clue the movie was Clue the movie. Very similar feel. Got a bunch of people trapped in a house. There's somebody been murdered. They're trying to figure out who it was, and it's a comedy. The reason this movie is packed with stars. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Alec Guinness, is in this movie playing a blind butler. His name is Benson Mum. And people think he keeps calling women mum, so they ask him his name. A woman asks him his name, is Benson Mum. But it's not Benson, Mum. It's Benson Mum. That's one of the jokes. But the reason you don't hear about this movie that much, it's got some racism in it, guys. I'm not gonna. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's got some racism in it. Peter Sellers, the guy who played Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther movies, the good Pink Panther movies, not that crap Steve Martin made. He plays the gist of it is that all these famous detectives get invited to this same mansion to solve this murder, because the guy that invites them thinks that they're all frauds, and he wants to prove that all of them are fake. And so he brings them all out to this mansion to solve this murder. Well, one of them, played by Peter Sellers, is based on the old Charlie Chan movies, but his character is named Sidney Huang. And he dresses in, Chinese garb. He has the hat with the Chinese robes and everything. And they have him maked up with buck teeth and slanted eyes and a Fu Manchu mustache. Basically, he looks kind of like Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China. He looks like that, but it's Inspector Clouseau under all that makeup. So it's what, I hate to use this phrase, but it's what they refer to in Hollywood as wearing yellow face. Yeah, all the way through this movie. So, if you can't get over the offense of seeing that they hired him instead of an actual Chinese actor, you won't like this very much. But I can't help it. I grew up with this movie, and I had to have it. And then finally, the last one. This is the most recent video game I picked up. This is called Ariana and the Elder Codex. It's a Metroidvania, and you know how I like Metroidvanias. You know how I like them. So I'm really big into this. I'm not too incredibly far into it. I'd say I'm maybe 20% into it, but I'm not a big fan of playing as the cute anime girl type crap. But as far as the gameplay of it, it just feels like a traditional Metroidvania, but it's more magic-centric. There's a lot more magic to it. And so, it's got good graphics, it's got good music, and the gameplay is exactly what I want it to be, so I've been happy with it. And that's everything that's been picked up since the last time I saw you guys. At that point, we are all caught up. So now, I already had Army of Darkness 4K. I already had that one. So now y'all can just ask questions away. What do you think about the PS6 leaks? All I care about is the fact that, the going rumors it's going to be digital only, which pisses me off. I saw Baby Boy with my mom. I don't know anything about that one. I watched a pretty good one recently on digital that I didn't know if I was going to like it or not. It's called Dust Bunnies. And it's got Mads Mikkelsen playing. It feels like a supernatural take on The Professional almost. Because you have a little girl who says that there's a monster under her bed that's been eating people. And she discovers that her next door neighbor in her apartment building is a hitman. So she hires this hitman to kill the monster under her bed. That's the general plot. And I liked it. It was good. What is a Metroidvania? I'll give you an example. The first example of a Metroidvania was Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So a Metroidvania, at its base, is a game that plays like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It's a game that takes the open world exploration of the original Metroid, where, there was a lot of backtracking because you get to a door that you couldn't open, so you'd have to go and find the tool that helped you open that door to get the next section, blah, 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 and gives you an overworld map like Castlevania Symphony of the Night did, with RPG elements where you can upgrade your character, get better gear, that kind of thing. That's what a Metroidvania is. Now, there's also a subset of that where it's basically a side-scrolling Souls-like, but because it has the map and because it has the weapon upgrades and the character upgrades, it classifies as a Metroidvania. They call those Soulsvanias. Salt and Sanctuary is an example of that. Lots of examples of that, but Salt and Sanctuary is one of the first I can remember. Have you watched Project Hail Mary? No. Eighth watched it. He went to see it at the theater. I have not felt like going to the theater, so I have not seen it. We only have 3 Switch games. Only 3. We have Donkey Kong Bonanza. We have Metroid Prime 4 and Kirby Air Riders. Now, that was Eighth's call. Eighth has tried Mario Kart 8 or Mario Kart World, didn't like it, and for whatever reason he bought Kirby Air Rider instead, and he loves that game. Go figure. So we only have 3 games for it because we're certainly not buying multiplats on the Switch 2. What a tremendous waste of money. So we're only buying games that you can only get for the Switch 2. And on top of that, we're not buying anything that's a key card. If it's a key card, screw you, not buying it. And that's why so far we only have 3 games. Here I am talking about going to Retropalooza. I have the time off. I still don't have a hotel booked. Because if you go to the Retropalooza website, they have not updated it from when they had to cancel it in December. And so the hotel deal link where you get the Retropalooza rate doesn't work anymore. So I texted Jay about that and let him know that link ain't working and it's not up to date. And he said, okay, I'll take care of it. And I haven't heard back from him yet. So I'm hoping he gets that done because I need to hurry up and get accommodations taken care of, because if I don't, then I'm just going to end up driving up there for the day Saturday and coming home. I don't really want to do that, but may have to. Hollow Knight is a Soulsvania. Yeah, I guess you could call it that. Yeah. I beat Hollow Knight, but I didn't plat it. WebRip version 1 leaked early. I can send you a link if you want. WebRip version 1 leak of what? Project Hail Mary? No. No, don't bother. Hi, Ben. The leaked new Mario is called Mario Titans. It looks interesting. I hadn't heard anything about it. I did hear about the Ocarina of Time remake, though. Couple of things I want to get for my Switch. One is the Star Wars pack with games like KOTOR, Pod Racer, and others. Also Dark Forces. I want to get the remaster of Dark Forces for PS5. I loved that game when I was a kid. Well, not so much a kid. I was a young adult by the time that came out. I'll tell you what sucks on Switch, though. You want to know what sucks on Switch? The Force Unleashed sucks on Switch. Why? Because they didn't port the Xbox 360 or the 360 version. They ported the Wii version, and it looks like garbage. And it has all that crappy motion control jank to it. I was so disappointed when I slapped that into my My Switch 2. I mean, yeah, it's 60 frames per second, but it's 60 frames per second of doo-doo. It looks like trash. So disappointed. Thoughts on the PS5 price hikes? Well, I mean, look at the way things are going. And it's with the economy and everything and all the stuff that's going on with the world with shipping and all this. Of course that's going to jack prices up. Tariffs, of course that's going to jack prices up. And it's not like they can't get away with it. When was the last time you actually saw a Series X in a store? Microsoft has given up. They have no effective competition, so they can pretty much put whatever price they want on the thing. People that want to play on a console bad enough will pay it. For the record, I stopped supporting Nintendo when they started charging people for online. Well, I get that. I understand that. That being said, I've been paying for online for years now, ever since PS4. So I'm pretty much accustomed to it. It's not really costing me a whole lot. And considering the fact that I've gotten rid of all my streaming services except for Amazon Prime and Disney, I'm not spending a whole lot on anything else, so why not? Have you tried the Blasphemous games? Yeah, I tried the first one and didn't care for it. I platinum Blasphemous 2. I've heard Blasphemous 2 is easier. And now I'm interested in Catholicism and Spanish mythology. I've heard that Blasphemous 2 feels more like a regular Metroidvania than a Soulsvania. I don't know if that's true or not. But I've only played Blasphemous 1, and I wasn't that big a fan of it. So, yeah. Oh, man. Sorry, guys. The thing of it is, I only got one more shot of the 2.5 milligram before they up me to the 5 milligram. So, after next Friday, they're going to double the dose. A couple of weeks ago, I was walking at the park and someone had "I'd rather be playing Oblivion" car sticker. I'll play that one. Yeah, I have the remaster of Oblivion on PS5. Oh, that's the other game that I was playing that I bought digital was Tainted Grail. Tainted Grail. I kept waiting for a physical release and one never came. And so finally, PSN had one of their sales, and so I got it for I think $40 digital, which you guys know normally I never buy digital anything, but I made an exception, and that game is great. If you've been itching for Skyrim, more Skyrim, Tainted Grail is the shit. It feels just like Skyrim. It really does. It's got great music. It's got great voice acting. Story is good. It's all tied to King Arthur and stuff. Oh, it was great. I loved it. I loved it. I've beat it, but I've still got lots of side quests and stuff left to do. I just decided to take a break and move on to something else. But yeah, man. It's a great game. It's a damn shame they aren't putting out a physical release of it, though. Oh, and I did order the physical edition of Marvel Cosmic whatever, the fighting, the beat-em-up game. I ordered the physical of that, and it's supposed to be here in like a week, like April 17th or something like that. And then I pre-ordered something on Limited Run, but I can't even remember what it was now. I pre-ordered something on Limited Run. No, I did not play Greedfall 2. Why? Because they canceled the physical release in the United States. They released it physically in other places, but they didn't release it physically in the United States. And whereas normally I could go on Amazon and get the physical like UK release or whatever, now it's not there. And so the only way for me to get it is digital, and I refuse to buy digital. I refuse to support the fact that they canceled the US version. So as much as I like the Spider developer, and I know it's not even coming from them, it's coming from Nacon or whoever published it, I'm not going to support that, so I didn't buy it. Plus, it's not the same style of game. Greedfall, the original, for all intents and purposes, was a fantasy clone of Mass Effect. It felt like Mass Effect, but with fantasy stuff. This game is a strategy game that's closer to playing something like Baldur's Gate 3 or Dragon Age Origins. And that's not what I want from Greedfall. I wanted a sequel to the game I played. I didn't want an entire change in gameplay style. So I'm doubly pissed about that one. Crimson Desert maxed out his next level. Well, we're not playing it on PC. 8th is playing it on PS5 Pro. But even on PS5 Pro, man, that game looks and runs fantastically. Do you think Knack is overrated compared to Ratchet and Clank? Absolutely. Knack kind of sucks, man. That's why they only made 2 of them. Because they're not good. Oh. Guys. It'll all be worth it when I'm 200 pounds. But right now, holy shit. The other thing, there's 2 ways that this medicine works as far as losing weight. 3 ways, actually. It flushes excess sugar out of your system and lowers insulin intolerance. So on one level, it's fighting your type 2. 2, it blocks the cortisol in your brain. Cortisol is the happy, satisfied drug that your brain releases when you get something that you want. So, for example, that contented, relaxed feeling that you get after you eat that slice of pizza that you've been waiting to eat all day long, and you finally get to sit down and eat it, and then you're like, yeah, that hit the spot. That drug is what makes your brain go, yeah, that hit the spot. This medication blocks that. So you don't think about food at all. The third thing it does is it slows down digestion. So the food you do eat stays in your stomach a lot longer than it normally would. So you feel full longer in the day. So you don't get hunger pangs, and you don't get your brain saying, hey, there's some cookies in the cabinet. You don't get any of that. But if you ignore it and you eat a regular-sized meal and your breakfast is still in there, then you suddenly feel like you have this 50-pound brick sitting in the center of your gut and stays there for hours. So you have this swollen pressure feeling for like hours before that finally eases off and some more of the food escapes out of the stomach. So you have all those 3 things working to encourage you to not eat as much as you were eating. But you add all that up together, and I just kind of feel blasted, man. Especially with the whole increased heart rate and all that stuff. I'm just like, oh God. And of course, I'm drinking my electrolytes. I'm taking a vitamin. I'm eating stuff high in protein to keep my protein up. But I still not only feel kind of drained of energy, but drained of motivation. And that's due to the cortisol. you don't have the happy time release of getting something done. And so that lowers your motivation to do shit. So I'm having to try to learn to fight that. But in the long run, it'll be worth it to get rid of all this excess weight and extend my life by a few years. My goal is to make it to 75. That's my goal. Because when I do, I'll be the first male in my family to make it past 62 in over 30 years. The last person to make it past 62 that was a male in my family was my father's half-brother. Same mother, different dads. And he made it to like 74, I think. 74 or 77, I can't remember. He made it to his 70s. That's what I want to do. I want to make it to at least 75. Anything after that is a bonus. And whereas I don't know if I can do that, I'm at least willing to try things that'll help me get there, like this shot. I played the demo for Pragmata. I was impressed. Going to be buying it. That's more of an 8 thing, but he's excited to get it. My son surprised me with a physical copy of Castlevania Collection for Switch 2. I have that for PS5. And I also have the PS5 Castlevania Collection that's all the DS games. I have that one too. Yeah, there's not much to the story of Knack, really, Nicholas. It's not all that great. Will you be picking up Mouse PI for hire? It looks interesting. I don't know if I'll be buying it, though. Are you picking up the Capcom Maximum Collection? It's the original X-Men Arcade, Captain America, Separation, Maximum Carnage. Probably not, because I've already got all of that on my arcade cabinet. Do a parasite cleanse. I don't know what that is, but it sounds terrifying. Woohoo, Viva la 7th. Hi, Raymond. It just started raining here. A lot. Are you going to see the new Spider-Man movie? Maybe. And then it just stopped. We got 30 seconds of rain, yo. Texas is like that, man. Texas is weird. It's like Florida. Only all the beaches are ass. Nope, here it comes again. Thoughts on the Steven Spielberg Disclosure Day movie? Any interest in seeing it? Oh, yeah, I'm interested in it, especially since Emily Blunt came out and said that one of the things it was going to do was answer questions about Close Encounters. So, you know, that interests me that they're going to that it's tied to Close Encounters. Of course, they're not going to tie it to E.T. E.T.'s wholly separated from that. I'm sure there isn't going to be any references to E.T. in it at all. But Close Encounters, yeah. Did you have a good Easter? No, because I was sick. I was sick laying on my back most of the time. Going, oh, Lord, make my heart slow down, Lord. Don't want to feel this anymore, Lord. That's pretty much all I did for Easter. I didn't even watch Passion of the Christ because I was afraid with my elevated heart rate it'd bother me too much. So instead I watched Jesus of Nazareth, that that miniseries from 1977, which is actually quite good, except for the fact that, the whole movie is a bunch of British white actors and James Earl Jones. So, you have to deal with, pasty white Jesus who looks kind of like the male version of Ursula from Superman 2, but he is a great actor and he did a fantastic job. So I still think Jesus of Nazareth is one of the best Jesus movies out there. And the soundtrack, man, the score to that movie, I can't even remember who the composer was, but the score is haunting as shit. Really good score. One of my least favorite, even though it's from the more of the classic Hollywood time period, one of my least favorite Jesus movies is, oddly enough, is The Greatest Story Ever Told. Now that one has like a legendary status, but I just can't get into it because Max von Sydow is playing Jesus. Brewmeister Smith, or whatever his name was, from Strange Brew, is Jesus. Ah, yes, Jesus of Nazareth in Judea, the 6-foot, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Swede. I just, I can get by with the guy who played him in Jesus of Nazareth because he still has a sort of Semitic look to him. And I can get by with it with Jim Caviezel because they caked him up with makeup to make him look Middle Eastern. But Max von Sydow, it takes me out of it every time. It takes me out of it every time. He was a bridge too far. I'm sorry. But that's another thing that bugs me about Jesus movies. In my entire, now I can't remember honestly if The Greatest Story Ever Told showed this. I don't remember it doing it. But in my memory, I have only seen one film about Christ that depicted the Transfiguration. Just one. And it was an indie movie. A speculative, fictional indie movie that was about what might have happened if Jesus had been born in the 20th century in America instead of 1st century Judea. It was called The Judas Project. I actually saw it in the theater. And it was so funny because the poster shows a guy with his back to the camera with long shoulder-length hair, wearing a crown of thorns, with his shirt ripped off, and you can see stripes down his back, down his big, buff, Stallone-looking, muscular back, wearing Levi's blue jeans, and there's an attack helicopter looking down at him. That was the poster for this movie. But when you actually watch it, Jesus is a guy named Jesse, and he looks like David Banner from the Incredible Hulk TV show. He looks like Bill Bixby. He don't look like Rambo like the poster makes him look. And he never gets attacked by an Apache attack helicopter neither. But yeah, it was called the Judas Project, and it depicted the Transfiguration. It didn't depict it very well because it was a low-budget movie, but it did depict it. Meanwhile, not even The Chosen, which has depicted a lot of stuff that the movies never included, did not depict the Transfiguration. And the guy that's the showrunner for The Chosen, he said that, that would have been a big budget event, and they just didn't feel that it was one of the more key events in Christ's life. He took his disciples up on a mountain and revealed his actual true spiritual body to them. And the spirits of Moses and Elijah were standing there with him, But that's not a significant event? Come on. Last Saturday, I had a sudden attack of body aches, chills, and a fever, mostly over it by Easter, but stayed away from the family as precaution. That could have been, maybe your body was trying to come down with the flu, and your body fought it off before it actually could take. Darwin's Paradox, play as an octopus. I've seen footage of it. I'm not all that interested, to be honest. Max von Sydow, I mostly remember him as the old guy in the beginning of The Force Awakens. He was a Jesuit priest in a movie about Hiroshima. Also the ship captain in The Voyage of the Damned. He was also the old king that hires Conan to go rescue his daughter from Thulsa Doom in Conan the Barbarian. What outrageousness! What arrogance! I salute you. That was Max von Sydow. The Jesus movie with Willem Dafoe was also hot. Last Temptation of Christ. Yeah, that movie was bad, and not because of any kind of religious issue with it. Although him being tempted on the cross with visions of putting the old one eye to Mary Magdalene. Yeah, that's crossing a line, sure, but that's not the reason the movie was bad. It was bad because it's bad. I've watched it. It's not a good film. Why would it be called Judas? Because a lot of the movie, I won't say it takes place from the viewpoint of Judas, but a lot of the events that you see them through Judas's point of view, his perspective. You can't get that movie on any format now. Judas Project, you can't get it on digital. You can't get it on Blu-ray. You might be able to find like a really old DVD copy of it. There's also a really crappy rip of it on YouTube, but it's the quality of it is really poor. It's funny, the guy that plays Peter in the Judas Project is this big 6'1.5" tall heavyset guy with a long beard. He looks like Grizzly Adams, and he's got a robotic claw arm because he lost his arm at some point. So he's got this one of those really older era like claw things before they started having replacement arms that actually had fingers that moved and stuff. Yeah, so imagine Grizzly Adams with that kind of replacement arm. Yeah. Outside of the whole Snape recast thing, the Harry Potter character castings are not too bad. I'm just sticking. Yeah, I think I have two issues with the casting. One, of course, is Snape. Snape is the biggest problem, and here's why. Because casting Snape with a black actor all of a sudden makes so many things in those movies blatantly racist. Oh, by the way, Harry, back in the day, your father and his friends strung up Snape, the black guy, in a tree. The one teacher out of all the teachers at Hogwarts, the one black one that you're immediately suspicious of and accuse him of stealing the Philosopher's Stone. They're going to have to rewrite so much of the story to get around that. And it just wasn't needed, man. It just wasn't needed. You know who would have made a great Snape for that series? Benedict Cumberbatch. He would have been a tremendous Snape. Tremendous. Stupid. Just stupid. And even dumber is their casting of Dumbledore. And let me tell you why. They already made that mistake once when they hired Harris to play him in the first film. And he only made it to the second film, and then he died. Here comes John Lithgow. He's in his 80s already. So they're placing their bets that he's still going to be around for 6 more years and is still going to be able to act for 6 more years. All I'm saying is if Dumbledore gets recast during this show, just like in the movies, don't be surprised. Stupid. Stupid. There's so many younger but still on in years actors that they could have put in that role. You know, hire someone who's in their 60s. Good God, man. Is Lithgow even going to be able to remember his lines a couple of years from now? Do y'all not remember what happened with Estelle Getty on The Golden Girls? Holy shit. Can you please explain the Sony MCU deal with Spider-Man to me? Years and years and years ago, Sony bought the movie rights to Spider-Man. And that included all of the Spider-Man villains. Green Goblin, Venom, Madam Web, all of them. Vulture, Mysterio, all the Spider-Man villains. So, with the exception of ones that were not primarily Spider-Man villains, ones that were in multiple books like Kingpin, Bullseye, Jigsaw, characters that were also used by the Punisher and used by Daredevil. Marvel does not have the rights to use any of those characters in their films unless Sony licenses them out. And so that's why you had all of these terrible Sony Spider-Verse films that came out back to back to back. You had Morbius, you had Madam Web, and you had Kraven the Hunter, and all of them sucked. Well, they all sucked because Sony was rushing them out. Why were they rushing them out? Because when you buy movie rights like that, if you don't use said movie rights in the within the designated time frame of the contract, the rights revert back to the holder. Sony doesn't want to give them back to Marvel, so they had to rush to put out some crappy movies to hold on to the license. That's the same reason why Sam Raimi's Spider-Verse got rebooted into the Andrew Garfield Spider-Verse, was because Sam Raimi said, I'll make Spider-Man 4, but you guys are not going to F with me the way you did on Spider-Man 3. I didn't like Venom, and you made me put him in there. I'm not doing it this time. I'm going to take my time and get it right. And the amount of time that he wanted, the rights were going to expire before he could get that film in theaters, and so they just took it over from him and fast-tracked a movie that they could get out within 2 years. And that's why you got Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Yeah, Richard Harris was 72 when he died. John Lithgow is in his 80s. This will not bode well. He's either going to become a phoebe and not be able to remember his lines, or he's going to die. He's not living 7 years. And that's assuming that they're going to be able to maintain a time frame where they're cranking out a new season every year. Hello, 7th. How are you? You ever thought to yourself that the world hates you? No. For example, I just finally got the PS5 and now I have a crack in my TV from a effing bug that flew through my door. You had a bug that cracked your TV? Must have been a big frickin' bug. They'll AI generate him if he passes away. I don't. Lithgow doesn't strike me as the type of person who would license his persona out like that. Do you think there will be X-Men in the new Spider-Man movie? Not unless it's tied to the Marvel storyline. But I mean, Marvel is sort of working with them because the Punisher's going to be in it. So who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? And by the way, y'all let me forget. Wrong one. Two hours remaining. 2 hours. And for the record, there have been 0 donations tonight. You'll notice I'm not even showing the donation bar anymore. Because I can't do the whole time extended thing anymore, especially not now. I'm struggling to get through this as it is, much less going 6 and 7 hour streams, man. So, while donations are appreciated, especially when I'm coming up short for Retropalooza this year, don't even know how much the hotel's going to cost me yet. I'm not going to push all that hard for that. I'm just not. I never have. Hey, enemy. How's it going? How is it going, kind sir? But yeah, my new TV looks awesome. It's great. I only paid $1,500 for it. It wasn't like some super expensive thing. It's $1,500. I didn't get to replace my web camera the way I wanted to. I didn't get to buy a new camera for going, filming myself going hunting the way I wanted to. I just ended up having to spend more money on other things than I thought I'd have to. What's your favorite X-Men movie, excluding Logan or the Deadpool movies? Probably a tie between X2 and the first X-Men First Class movie. That's another thing, this stuff, a side effect of this stuff. Because the food is sitting in your stomach churning longer, you can rip these nastiest sulfuric rotten egg burps, whether you ate eggs or not. It just smells like pure sulfur. It's disgusting. You don't have that. You don't have sulfur breath, but when you rip that burp out and it's enough to. Your burps could make you vomit. Yes, you're a little late to the show. Both 8th and I have a Switch too. Let's check in on the weather, see what's going on with the weather here. Let's see. Yeah, we got one. We got some rain that's right. It looks like it's going to be passing by us. Yeah, it ought to be gone within another 30 minutes or so. It'll be gone in another 30 minutes. No big whoop. As usual, most of the really bad stuff hits to the west and hits up in the Fort Worth area, Fort Worth, Dallas. Most of the bad stuff tends to miss this area, which is why everyone was so shocked when a tornado hit this general area 2 days before I moved in. But yeah, this is a 17-year-old house, so of course the trash compactor and the garage door break the same week. Of course they do, because it's a 17-year-old house. I could have bought a mini LED TV Ace of Horns, but I went and looked at them, and I just didn't think the picture on it was as good as the OLED I bought. In my area, we know it's spring when we find a pair of mallards in the pool. I don't have a pool. My neighborhood has a pool. I have a key to it, but I never use it because I'm a fat ass and I don't want to be, walking around with wet clothes clinging to my fat ass. Maybe when I get down to 200 pounds, I'll start using the pool. Oh, Father God, give me strength. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. So 8th has that new receiver, right? That I paid $500 for. And he's running that thing through those big Technics tower speakers of mine from my 30-year-old Technics stereo system. And those things both have 12-inch woofers in them, so he doesn't even need a subwoofer. And when he watches a movie or plays video games, it shakes the whole house. I'm sure the neighbors on that side of the house love him. I'm sure they love him. I got deja vu when I first toured this house because it reminded me so much of our house in Charlotte. Because much like that house, you opened the door and you were facing the stairs. Only instead, with this house, the entrance to the stairs is facing away from the door, whereas in Charlotte, the stairs were facing the door. So you opened it up and you saw the stairs going up to the second floor. And this living room is in a similar configuration. It's just bigger. It's wider and longer than the one that I had in Charlotte, which it makes sense though, because both the houses were built the same year and have a lot of the same construction materials and stuff. This is just a much bigger house, because in the house in Charlotte there was no garage. All I had was a driveway, no garage, and you walked up the stairs and you had 2 tiny little bedrooms and a pretty small master bedroom. Here you have this great big living room, and you walk down that hallway over there, and that's where your master bedroom is on the ground floor. Then you go upstairs, you come around a corner, and there's a hallway, and you've got bedroom, bedroom, bedroom. Then you turn to the left, and you've got a second living room. Much bigger house. That being said, we're already running out of room for games and movies. I mean, look how full that thing looks compared to when we first moved in here. Insane. Hey, Daniel. Is that a NIC-free device? No, but it's very, very low NIC. It's very, very low. You can't even feel it. And it's not one of the big mod units like I used to use where I'd just have this massive cloud that'd fill the whole room. No. You get a little cloud. I got a question off topic. When you made the Xbox One Sucks video, you mentioned Zaire. Who was that? Zaire was a YouTuber who's still around. I don't know what he goes by now, but back then he went by the YouTube name NextGen720, because at the time he was an Xbox guy, and he kept talking about how great the Xbox 720 was going to be. And so his YouTube name was NextGen720. He was the one that inspired Black Bond's whole Calapez thing, and all the videos about claiming that he had a $12,000 PC with 4 Titan GPUs in it, running in SLI. Always bragging about how much money he had. He had shown supposed big stacks of all of his money and all this stuff. Yeah. That was him. I thought he changed it to Next Gen 8 something or other at some point. I don't know. I don't follow him. I know at one point he switched from Xbox to PlayStation like Crap Gamer did. Yes, Tales of the $12,000 PC, indeed. That's the one. That's the one. But yeah, between now and May 23rd or something like that, between now and May 23rd, any donations that I get, they're going into the Retropalooza Fund. I'm buying any other new gear, I'm putting all that on hold until I can get myself up to Fort Worth for the memorial that they're having for Billy at Retropalooza. That's it. Next Gen 8K. Yeah, that's his name now. Next Gen 8K. He was the one where we were all on a live stream one night, and he started bragging about how he was mixing oxys with Viagra, and he passed out and was like passed out in a drug stupor during the live stream. That was him. He switched over to PlayStation after watching your video. He was not a Microsoft developer. I was another one that he didn't care for. Me and Heart 8 are good now. Me and Heart 8 times, we get along now. But there was a time where Heart 8 would see me, Black Bond would invite me into a live stream, and Heart 8 would see me hop into the chat, and he'd quit. He'd drop out. He didn't want to be live with me. And Next Gen used to be the same way. In fact, at one point, he told people that I scared him. He was scared of me. I don't know why. I never threatened the guy. I did find out his criminal record, and I told Black Bond about it. But, I never doxed him or anything like that. That's one thing about me. You can't do that to me because I don't have a criminal record. I've never gotten anything worse than a speeding ticket. That's it. No reckless driving, no nothing. Just a speeding ticket. Never been arrested. My old man made sure of that. Not that he was getting me out of trouble, but, he was like, if you ever turn into the people that I have to deal with on a daily basis and allow yourself to become the scum of the earth, I'll come deal with you myself. That's what my dad told me. And so I've been on the straight and narrow ever since. What happened to 6th? My dad, he died of a undiagnosed heart disease when he was 61, all the way back in 2004. Did you see what's going on with Jack Move? I think his dad passed away, was it? That's what I'd heard, was that his father passed away. Which I know what that feels like. I've been there. It's not a pleasant experience. which is why I would prefer to prolong the amount of time before 8th has to feel that as much as I can. It's not about me. I don't care. I'm ready to go. I'm right with myself and the Lord. If the Lord took me today, I'd be fine with it, with the exception that I don't think he's ready for it yet. Neither emotionally or in his career is he ready to take over for me, from as far as financial responsibility goes. He wouldn't be able to afford the mortgage on this house, for example. Not yet. His emergency plan, if something unforeseen happens to me, is that several of his friends have agreed to drop their lease on their apartments and move in here with him, and they just split the mortgage up 4 or 5 ways. 8th is my son. 6th would be my father. His mother passed away too. I thought it was his father. His mom lived with him, right? Oh, that sucks. That sucks to hear. Well, again, me and Jack get along, but we don't talk that much. We live in very different worlds, so to speak, and so outside of video games, we don't really have a whole lot to talk about to each other, so we don't have that much in the way of interaction. But if there's anyone here who does talk to him regularly, let him know he'll be in my prayers. Father passed when he was a kid. Okay. I think he has his own apartment now, but still no job. It's a bad economy out there, man, especially for someone that doesn't have any real-world job experience to fall back on. That's one of the reasons why I never tried to go for a YouTube career, because I had a feeling that it was just going to be too flighty and was not going to be something that would be able to sustain itself indefinitely. And yeah, while you still have some out there that are able to make millions of dollars off of it, these guys that are trying to live off of 50 and 60,000 views. I have friends that are to this day trying to do that. Or, they're only getting 50, 60,000 views, and so they're relying entirely on what little ad revenue they get and YouTube memberships. And I worry about them. I worry about them a lot because I just don't think it's sustainable. If I know someone who has a bona fide career, they've gone out to college, they've gotten a degree, they've worked their way up into their field, and they come to me telling me, hey, I'm going to go full-time YouTube, I do my damnedest to talk them out of it. It's a bad idea. YouTube should, except for these people that have 1 in a million shot, have gotten lucky enough to where they're making millions off of YouTube. It ain't worth it ain't worth the effort, man. YouTube should be a hobby. Treat it that way. Gives you a little bit of extra pocket money, maybe pays for your gas, Don't try to make a career out of it. It's too risky, especially in this economy. I don't like using phones. I don't like playing games on phones. And yes, I know you can get controllers for them and whatnot to get around the whole touch screen controls. But on top of that, I'm just not a handheld gamer. When I go out somewhere, I'm all business. I'm going to get what I want done, and then going home. The only time I take a handheld with me is when I go on a road trip, like to Retropalooza or whatnot. If I'm bored enough, I'll whip out my, handheld from my backpack, and I'll sit there and play my handheld. I have a Retroid Pocket 3 for that. Plays all of my ROMs of my favorite consoles. So if you ever see me out at Retropalooza and I'm playing something, I'm probably playing like Ninja Gaiden on on my Retroid Pocket 3. Hey, 7th, I love your content. Been watching since 2015. When would you make those old skits with who is Ninth? There isn't a Ninth. I don't know what you're talking about. There is no Ninth. I've been recently doing lolcow research into chibi reviews. Quit a good welding job for YouTube. Made e-begging videos with expensive trinkets like anime figures and hundreds of manga volumes behind him. Oh, well, that's kind of like Wings of Redemption. He quit a welding job. I think it was welding. It was in some kind of a manufacturing deal. And he quit that to do YouTube full time, and now look at him. Especially when AI is taking over social media platforms, building a career off of streaming is a very risky endeavor. Yeah, AI is flooding every streaming platform. My feed is full of AI slop, and it just drowns everything else out. It's hard to keep up with the channels you do watch because they just get flooded and surrounded by all this AI garbage. How scared should we be about AI? Right now, it just kind of depends on your career path. I mean, normally IT should be scared, but my company doesn't really have the money to invest in big AI that could take everything over. All they can afford to invest in are small little AI apps that can assist users with this or assist users with that. Nothing that would replace anybody. You know, my company, we're talking about, you know, a $20 billion a year revenue company. You know, 11 billion in profit. You know, which sounds big, but it's not. It's a drop in the well compared to something like Google or X or any of that stuff. It's drop in the bucket. We're big in our industry, but we're small compared to companies that are going full AI like Amazon and whatnot. What do you think about the Iran situation? I don't think about it. Well, I do, but I don't talk about what I think about it on here because, again, this is not a politics stream. This is not a politics stream, never has been, never will be. The dead internet theory is absolutely real. Well, it wasn't so much real when it first came out, that theory, but it's becoming more like manifest destiny, really. And now you have this thing where, you know, families can pay to have an AI representation of their dead relative so they can keep talking to them after they're dead. I don't know that, like, I don't know that I would want 8th, for example, continuing my channel with an AI representation of me that people could talk to live on stream. I don't know that I'd want that. I don't know that I'd want that. That's kind of weird. Plus, I don't think any AI, as smart as it ever could be, could realistically replicate all of this. That's all I think AI should be, is a tool. Like, I'm working on this new book, right? And I have used Grok to organize my thoughts about this book and put everything together in an outline that I can follow when I write it. For that kind of stuff, AI is great. For all the stuff that they're wanting to use it for, even then, Nico, I wouldn't talk about it because those kind of things don't interest me, and I don't want to get into the kind of bitterness and arguing that it inspires. I'd rather just sit and talk about the stuff I like playing, and the things that I want to do and the things I want to go see and don't want to go see. And what are your thoughts on the Highlander reboot? I think it'll be great once it comes out, or I hope it'll be great. It's got a lot of good names tied to it. I don't know about Russell Crowe as Ramirez, though. I mean, okay, sure, he was an Egyptian that was played by a Scotsman. And now he's an Egyptian that's going to be played by a Brit. So, I mean, or no, an Australian. He's an Egyptian that's going to be played by an Australian. He's an Egyptian who took on a Hispanic persona that's going to be played by an Australian. Weird character, that Ramirez. And I think all the other casting is fine. That one kind of was like, I do want to see Voltron next year. And I will go to the theater to check out He-Man. I'll give it a shot. Although, to be honest, He-Man was never one of my big IP when I was a kid. I was mainly a G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Voltron guy. I had a few He-Man toys, but it was not my favorite. My big ones were Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Voltron. And, of course, Voltron only lasted like a year, and then they just kind of faded away. It beats me to know who was using AI first and why everyone jumped on it all at once. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the Cotton series? Never really got into it. That's the one with the girl on the broom. I've played a couple of them, but I'm not as enamored with them as other people are. Don't really do anything for me in the greater scheme of things. What do you think of the G.I. Joe movies that came out years ago, the latest one being the Snake Eyes origin movie? Didn't like the Snake Eyes origin movie at all because it didn't follow anything from the comics. Didn't like the first one all that well because of the whole reliance on those Halo-looking exosuits. Otherwise, I liked that one. But also, I didn't like that, G.I. Joe wasn't an American hero anymore. It was like, they were almost like they worked for the UN. And then the third one, my major issue with it was how much of it revolved around The Rock. Third one was pretty good. I was glad that Marlon Wayans wasn't in it this time around. But, they killed Duke off in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and then the rest of it was about The Rock. So, if I get a hankering for real life G.I. Joe, I'll watch them. Not that bad. But they're not that great. I do like how the most recent Transformer film teased G.I. Joe at the end of it, and then they never did anything with it. Because, that Snake Eyes movie was supposed to relaunch the franchise. Well, you don't relaunch the franchise with an origin movie that doesn't have anything to do with the character's origin. Are you watching The Boys or Daredevil? Yes, I'm watching them both. Did you watch Pee-wee's Playhouse? Yeah, I watched Pee-wee's Playhouse. I thought it was funny as hell, especially since a lot of the humor in it was not kid humor. That being said, I don't own it on Blu-ray or anything. I'm a millennial from the 90s, so my big interests were Pokemon, Sonic, Power Rangers, and Dragon Ball. I only heard of He-Man from the 2000 reboot. Yeah. I didn't like Power Rangers because by the time Power Rangers came out, there's two things that happened. One, I had already seen the Power Rangers before the Power Rangers were the Power Rangers, because before that came out, like a few years before that came out, they started releasing Power Ranger episodes straight from Japan with subtitles, packaged together in 2-hour chunks like movies. And so you could turn on WGN or something and they'd be showing this 2-hour movie of what became the Power Rangers. So I'd already seen a lot of that. Secondly, when the first time I sat down and saw an episode of it, because there were younger kids around me that were talking about it, cousins and such, I sat down and watched an episode of it, and I was like, this is live action Voltron, and I turned it off. And plus, I recognized some of the kaiju fight scenes in it because I'd already seen it in those movies from a couple of years back. Dragon Ball Z, I never really got into. Sonic, I only cared about the games. I never watched the shows. I mean, stuff from the 90s that I did watch was Batman the Animated Series and Freakazoid and Animaniacs. I watched those. But otherwise, by then I was like 17 years old. And so I was mostly, if I was watching cartoons, it was mostly anime. And I was fixated mostly on live action movies and video games at that point. And getting laid. What are your thoughts right now on physical games, just keys to download it to play? Well, yes and no. I mean, several of the games that come out on PS5, the full game's on the disc. So there are several games on PS5 where you can disconnect your PlayStation from the internet and it'll still install the full game from the disc. Not all, especially not the Microsoft ones, but still a lot. But when it comes to Switch, even when it's not a key card, those Switch cartridges will only hold so much data. So even when you're getting the full Switch card, you're still like maybe getting half the game and the rest of it has to be downloaded. So there's almost no point to it at all on Switch 2. Currently, there's still a point on PS5, but I think most likely that'll end with the next console. What are your thoughts on both current seasons? I'm liking Daredevil. The boys just really strikes me as like, edgelord stuff for 17-year-old males. It's like, how shocking can we get with it? I know. Let's have a guy that fights with an 8-foot dick. Let's have a guy made out of rock who, when he jerks off, he ejaculates lava. Let's do that. It's just edgelord shit. The whole show is edgelord shit. I'll be in Tokyo in November. If you had a free trip to Tokyo for game chasing, what would you be on the lookout for? Cheap stuff. I'd be looking to walk out of Akibahara, or however it's pronounced, with absolutely as much stuff as I could by buying as much cheap stuff as I could. So, for example, how expensive Neo Geo CD consoles are. I'd be looking to see what kind of a deal I could get on a used Neo Geo CD, that kind of shit. I remember a time before PlayStation, then PlayStation came in and took over. How do you think PlayStation did it? It was less that PlayStation did it as it was that Sega handed it to them. Sega and Nintendo handed it to them. Nintendo handed it to them by refusing to switch to CD and sticking with cart. And Sega handed it to them by getting too scared of what PlayStation could do, trying to cram comparable technology into the Saturn at the last minute, which then forced them to have to sell it for $400. And that's what sank Sega. That and the fact that they decided to try to beat Sony market by releasing the game earlier than they told their publishers it would be. So a lot of them that were hoping on that launch day push didn't get it. 7th, if you think this TV show is edgy, don't read the comics. They make the TV show look and feel like an ABC Family movie. Oh, great. Oh, great. I've also been watching the newest season of Invincible. It's okay. It's okay. It's not mind-blowing. I've been watching the fallout from Starfleet Academy. The show had already they've talked about how all you're going to get is season 2, and that's it. You're not even going to get season 2 now, because they posted pictures this week showing that the sets are already being torn down, and apparently this weekend they're going to have an auction to sell off parts of the set to fans. They say that the episodes of Starfleet Academy were only averaging 40,000 views. I've gotten more than 40,000 views on a video. I guarantee you the video I made didn't cost as much as an episode of Starfleet Academy. Good God. I mean, that's just what you get when you try to release a Star Trek show that's packed full with a bunch of constantly expiring Generation Y humor to it. It's freaking stupid. Stupid. How could they possibly think that that was going to be successful when they've been trying to cater to that market since 2014, and everything they make from 2014 to now that's tried to cater to that kind of mindset and that kind of sense of humor has flopped every time. And they just keep throwing money at it. I don't get it. I don't know what you're remembering. When I bought my Saturn in May of 1995, it was $400, and all it came with was Virtua Fighter. Have I ever played Twisted Metal or Vigilante 8? Yes. I personally was not a fan, but I understand why those games did have a big fan base. You're not getting any more Twisted Metal because the last Twisted Metal to come out, which was an exclusive for PS3, nobody liked it. It didn't go over well. And I don't even remember the last time I don't even think Vigilante 8 made it past what, PS2 at most? So many of the studios that made stuff like that during the PS1 and PS2 generations don't exist anymore. And modern gaming is too afraid to be putting money down on anything less than blockbuster genres, unfortunately. You know, they've almost completely eliminated the AA market. So really the only place you can find decent AA games is in the indie space. You know, that was how Sony eventually dominated during the PS3 era, because they were releasing AA and AAA games, and they were stacking them to where, you know, you get a AAA game, you get a AA game. You get a AAA game, you get a AA game. So it always seemed like something new was coming out. Even if something was experimental and flopped, it was okay, because you had the next game coming around that'd make more than enough to cover and justify the development costs. Why they didn't stick to that model, I don't know. Because once the PS4 happened, it's like, oh, we don't have to spend all that money to be stacking all these great games for the players to play, because Xbox flopped. So now we can just stick to making really expensive AAA bangers that maybe 2 of them come out a year. I mean, I love the PS4 generation, but come on. Most of what I bought for PS4 was like third-party RPGs and stuff. because there just wasn't that much coming out for the PS4 from Sony. More than this generation, sure. I didn't say I never played them. I just said they weren't for me. They should go back. I'm talking to you, Daniel. They should go back to the model instead of one AAA game a year. Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, look at Astrobot. Astrobot is a AA game. AAA in quality maybe, but AA in its visuals and AA in its budget. They should be making more games like Astrobot. And they have all these defunct IP that they could turn into a restored AA market that would be making them bank. Jack and Daxter and Siphon Filter and all these different Ape Escape, all these different AA franchises that they've left behind in the dust. They could revive those and under limited budgets and make money, and they're not doing it. Do you think Sony would have been going downhill had they kept their online? That doesn't really matter. That doesn't really matter, Daniel, and you want to know why? Because the majority of Sony's diehard fan market, they don't care about multiplayer. They care about single-player experiences. That's why all these new live service games have flopped. It's not just because they're generic, like Concord was. It's that there's only a small subset of the Sony fan base that play those live service games. The rest of them are like, where's The Last of Us 3? Where's the next Spider-Man? Why did you get rid of Killzone? Why did you get rid of Resistance? Where's the next Ratchet and Clank? They care about single-player games. So free multiplayer wouldn't have had much of an effect as far as Sony goes. Now, if Microsoft had said, hey, guess what, guys? Game Pass and Xbox Live are now free, they'd probably be doing a lot better now than they were. They could have monetized Game Pass another way, made the online free, and because the Microsoft fan base has always been full of frag heads that love PvP, they would have made money. But they didn't want to do that because they're still determined, even more so now with Spencer gone, to turn what was a console market into a digital subscription market. And I have a feeling that it's quite possible that the PS6 is going to follow them right down that same road. It was a boneheaded move to keep paying for Xbox Live to play free-to-play. Yeah, I know. It's a stupid move. Supremely stupid move. But hey, what do I know? I'm just an IT, I'm just an IT guy that plays video games. I've never been a CEO. I've never run a company. What do I know? I only predicted all of this, back in 2009, 17 years ago. What do I know? Took longer than I thought to get here, but it got here. Okay, now this thing's starting to irritate me. I'm going to take it off. So, recapping on Starfield, yeah. I still think that it's severely lacking in the kind of offbeat humor that you'd see in Fallout and even in Skyrim too. But also, it takes something out of the exploratory feel of it, where you don't have this big open map and you can just go anywhere, and you just happen across this thing that you didn't even know it was there. It wasn't even a marker on the map until you got within 5 feet of it, and then suddenly here's this vast cave. That was what was great about Skyrim. Starfield, it's just a bunch of little planets that only have 1 or 2 things on them, and it tells you right on the map where they are. So there's no sense of exploration at all. Starfield is like playing Fallout if there was no overworld and you were just going from the inside of a building to the inside of a building. That's what Starfield is like. And yes, there are some overworlds, sure, but there's nothing in them. There's nothing to do until you get to one of the bases or whatever, and you walk in there, and then a fight starts. So you know how with Fallout, you'd walk around and there'd be all sorts of stuff to look at, all sorts of things to loot, new enemy types to find, and all this stuff. And then you'd get to a high-rise building, and you'd walk into it, and then you'd have this basically multi-floor dungeon to go through. Well, Starfield is like that, only those multi-floor dungeons is all there is. That's Starfield. And doesn't have any of the humor and the jokes to it. I mean, there's some humor in the background here and there, but it's very, very subtle. So, but that being said, it does perform way, way better on PS5 Pro. And that has kind of made me more interested in playing it, simply because it's not crashing every 30 minutes and the frame rate isn't chugging down to 10 frames a second every time I turn around like it was on the Series X. Now, one way that I have had a lot of crashes is when I first started playing it, I had it set to performance mode because I will always put frame rate above graphical fidelity. And I switched it between quality and performance, and honestly, I didn't really see that much of a difference between the two from a visual perspective. But I put it on performance, and I set it to unlocked frame rate, and through some sections, I was getting like 120 plus frames per second. But it also was crashing repeatedly. Once I put it on unlocked frame rate, it crashed 3 times in an hour. And so I switched it back from unlocked to 60 frames per second, smooth sailing, no problems. Crimson Desert feels like a Bethesda game that we should have gotten. It's this generation Skyrim, mark my words. This is a placeholder for the Elder Scrolls 6. Well, I mean, it doesn't play anything like it as far as a combat perspective goes. I've watched 8th play it, and it doesn't really seem like a Bethesda game to me. What it strikes me as is a more adult-oriented Breath of the Wild, with hand-to-hand combat that feels like it came out of a fighting game. That's what it is to me. Keep in mind, I haven't gotten to play it yet because 8th has been obsessed with it since it showed up here. Yeah, Fallout's funny as hell. And plus, Fallout can be cheesed all to get... I had, like, Fallout 3, right? At one point, I found this really super-powered robot fist thing, And I was one-shotting those big giant demon things with the horns sticking out of their head. I was one-shotting those with that fist. I was one-shotting the big-ass robots with that fist on Fallout 3 for PS3. I don't even remember where I found the damn thing. But it wasn't your standard power fist. It was way overstated. And I basically used that thing to go through the whole game. I barely even did any gunplay until, some of the trophies sort of required it. Hi, QB. It has been a long time. It has been a long, long time. Skyrim just feels like a game that surprisingly has a lot of staying power despite being a nearly 15-year-old game. Same with Fallout. Mods kept these games alive. You know what? I've never really done the mod thing. I know you can get them on the consoles now, but I just don't bother with it. I play the base game, I play any DLC, and then I'm done with it. If it's DLC I really want. Which that was the one thing. The PlayStation 5 version of Starfield came with all the DLC. So I'm fine with that. I hope you enjoy your Switch too. I've been really happy with mine since it launched. We only have 3 games with it, and none of them are like mind-blowing. But playing people's personally designed levels and losing a couple on Mario Maker 2, I never really got into that. I had my fill of that with Little Big Planet, and I got kind of burnt out on that kind of thing. You find those in your good old Vault 101. I don't remember where I found it. I just remember it was way more powerful than any of the other power fists that I found in the game. And I was just one-shotting the shit out of everything. Modding keeps the game alive longer. Well, I can understand that, but my thing is, I play one game for too long and I lose my interest in it. I get burnt out and then I don't finish it. So that's why I'll do like 20 hours in an RPG here, 20 hours in an RPG there, and then go back to the other one. And, once I finish the story, unless I want to replay the whole game from a nostalgic point of view a couple of years later, like I have with Skyrim at one point, I just, I don't care too much about the mod stuff. Improvements in performance, sure, why not? But like, fan-made missions and, turning the dragons into Randy Savage and all that garbage, I don't care about any of that. And that's not to disparage people that make levels. Because I know there's been some mod-created levels and stuff like that out there for games that have been tremendous. But at the same time, if you look at the whole controversy over Oblivion modding, where that one guy basically took all of it over, and yeah, I just as soon not even get involved in all that crap. Just as soon not get involved at all. Boy, where's Darkstar Angel tonight? I've been gone so long you forgot about me. Did you play the Family Guy game on PS2? No, I did play a Family Guy game on PS3 and it was trash. Whoops. One hour left. 1 hour remaining. There have been 0 donations tonight. I've been gone a month. 0 donations. Your love for me has died. Favorite South Park game? Stick of Truth. How's it going, Nick Neal? I started the sequel to Stick of Truth, the whatever but whole, but I didn't finish it. The Hour of Power. Well, I know what it's not going to be, Nico. The Hour of Money, because y'all don't love me no more. Oh, I need to turn that off. There we go. Oh, man. I'm so blessed. Oh, this Mounjaro shit. I swear I could fall asleep right now. It would be so easy. But it's got to be done. Got to be done. I've been fighting to get this weight off since 2012, and have been unsuccessful for long periods of time. I've lost weight and then put it back on, lost weight and put it back on. I'm 51 years old now. I've got to get this off. So if I've got to go through some torturous shit to make that happen, so be it. So be it. I will do what I got to do. And I mean, so far it's working. I'm starting into I'm 1 day into my 3rd week and I've lost 8 pounds already. Hey, hey. And the thing of it is, you're not supposed to lose weight on the lowest dose. On the lowest dose, that's just supposed to be getting your system used to the medicine, and then you're not supposed to start losing weight until a month in when they up you to 5 milligrams. I'm still on the 2.5 and I've lost 8 pounds. And I've still got 2 weeks to go on this dosage. You're not supposed to be potentially 16 pounds lighter by the time you end the lowest dose. Not supposed to happen that way, but it's happening with me. It's not water weight though. I drink a lot of fluids, enough to flush water weight out already. I can already tell, there's an area of my gut where it's starting to get all wrinkled from where the fat has eroded from that part of my gut. So I know it's fat that it's burning. That and the fact that, not to be too gross, but when you're burning fat as opposed to shedding out water weight, your pee smells atrocious. Just awful. And it's because of the additional chemicals that are coming out with it from the burning of the fat. Like, you know what, and you know how bad your pee smells if you eat a lot of asparagus? It's like that cranked up to 10. It's just sucking the energy out of me, and I'm sorry that I haven't been around much. Just smoked weed for the first time, and I'm 32, and hello, hi Shadow Deist. I'm well past my days of that stuff, my friend. I haven't done that regularly since around 1999. And even then, it was only because the girl I was screwing at the time always had it. And so I'd go over to her place and screw, and then smoke some of her weed. I never got to the point where I was into it enough to want to go and buy my own supply. I'd go over to her place and smoke hers, and once we were Splitsville, I quit. Ouch, ouch, ouch. But I want to get rid of all of this. And I definitely want to get rid of all of this. And as long as I can stick to this, it should take about 9 months to get there. And I've already been 3 weeks, so in another week it'll be 8 months. I drink like a camel during the warmer months, so like water, tea, lemonade, seltzer, being hydrated is up. Well, you know, I drink tea and water. I've eliminated almost all soda. Don't really drink fruit juice or anything like that. And for electrolytes, I just have this powder that I pour into water, and that gives me my electrolytes once a day. Then I have a over 50 men's multivitamin that I take to make sure I don't have a vitamin deficiency from the fact that the sun rarely touches my skin. And I'm keeping my protein high to prevent my system from breaking down muscle instead of breaking down fat. So that's where we're at. That is where we're at. And it's not easy because this stuff is like messing me up. But I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna rise above the side effects that I'm having to deal with, and I will get there. I will get there. I don't know about getting down to 175 pounds, but getting to 200 pounds in 9 months, sure. $7 from Dark Star Angel. Thank you, Dark Star Angel. Appreciate you. I can always count on your $7. So you're also the only person that's donated tonight. Sorry I'm late. Here's my signature donation. Are you going to avoid buying current platforms due to the inflation caused by RAM stealing? I already have all the current platforms. I already got all the current ones. It's the next gen ones that I'm strongly concerned about. Oh, man. Oh, 52 minutes to go. 52 minutes. But thank you, Dark Star, for the $7. All donations between now and May 23rd are going to fund the trip to Retropalooza for Billy's memorial. And, yeah. That's where all it will go. I'll have the opportunity for one YouTube payment on or around May 21st to hit my bank account before I head out there. So that's where that will go. So thank you for the $7, Darkstar. Povo the Clown is subscribed. Thank you, Povo the Clown. Feel free to hop in the chat and say hello. Makes me think of that Dead Kennedy song. Rambozo, Rambozo, Rambozo the Clown. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. So is the PS5 really rising in price? Yes. Yes. I don't know about the base. I don't know what the baseline unit's going to run, but the PS5 Pro is going to be almost $1,000, unless Sony changes their mind because of all the backlash. I feel sorry for kids who are trying to get a game console for their birthday this Christmas. Console gaming might be cooked. Well, can't say I didn't warn you. Told y'all it was on its way out. Just the death lasted longer than I thought it would. I know, Shadow Deist, you said that. You said that already. Meanwhile, we got people like Plain Rock breaking consoles and shit brand new. Yeah, well, anything for views, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. Another thing about Manjaro is it seems to have accelerated some of the things I was already dealing with. Like, it seems like I'm getting more migraines than I was before. I had one hit me real bad a couple of days ago, and I'd already gotten over one from the weekend, and then I got hit another one a couple of days ago, and I had to leave work early because my eyesight was getting affected by it so bad that I was having trouble reading the screen. So I just told my boss, I gotta go, and I logged out and I went to bed. I went to bed. Who do you think is the worst kind of clout chaser? The ones that base all of their content around following trends. The kind of the ones that started out as, you know, they were a gaming YouTuber, or they were a music YouTuber, or they were this, or they were that, and then they just suddenly they decide they're going to be the next drama alert. Like Tipster. Tipster used to be a gaming channel, and now he's just really trying to be the next Keemstar. I unsubbed from him when he made that announcement. I wasn't going to watch that garbage. Well, yeah, I'm being tracked by a doctor daily. We are not only, you know, do I have regular doctor visits, but, you know, my doctor's company has an app where you have daily contact with your doctor. So you can say, well, today I had these symptoms. And so he writes back, tells you what he thinks about it. Or lost another 4 pounds. So he writes back and tells you what he thinks about it. Drama alert is dead. Yeah, didn't Keemstar hand it off to somebody else so he could focus on that stupid lolcow crap? Has lolcow died too? Because I noticed nothing lolcow live has showed up in my recommended stream in weeks. And I don't know if that's because the algorithm noticed that I wasn't clicking on it anymore, or if something has gone on over there and it's dead. I don't know. I mean, I messaged Boogie a long time ago, and I told him, look, man, I know you got to pay your bills, but I'm not going to be watching this stuff. It's too boring and stupid. And he said he understood. I mean, he knows exactly what audience that show is made for. He knows. And he knows exactly how to overreact and how to act on camera to appease that audience. He knows exactly what he's doing, but it hasn't been recommended into my feed in forever, so I don't know if it died or what. My biggest hope of the AI bubble bursting would be the end of Ubisoft. I don't think Ubisoft would need an AI bubble burst for that. DSP is still around, doesn't surprise me, but I don't pay attention to him. I've never watched DSP. I've seen clips of him for there was that guy that used to make those compilation videos, DSP Tries to Play or whatever. Those were funny. To be honest, the content creation scene is dead, not what it used to be. I'm kind of shocked that James Rolfe is still making content to this day. Just recently released a 20th anniversary vid, yeah. Is it weird that Boogie is dating that young girl? She's like 22 now, but yeah, she's like half his age, so that is pretty weird. My biggest gripe with AI RAM stealing is how it's causing a sabotage of platform delays like the Steam machine, which is in turn preventing us from getting Half-Life 3. I wouldn't say that it's like the sole reason we don't have a Half-Life 3. I think that's really been, for the most part, Gabe Newell not giving a shit about Half-Life 3 because they were already making money hand over fist just through Steam, so they didn't need to make a Half-Life 3. And the only reason they went back to the universe for Half-Life Alyx was to sell their VR helmet. I'm honestly surprised that Wings of Redemption hasn't, like, self-deleted. Especially once he lost his lolcow meal ticket and didn't have that money coming in anymore. Because, I have... his wife must have, like, a halfway decent job, because I don't know how else they even survive with what little he makes off of his YouTube channel. Am I going to watch Maul Shadow Lord? No, because I've never been into the Star Wars animated shows. If it was live action, I might watch it, but I'm not watching a cartoon. I'm not watching a cartoon. Well, it's not just that, Nico. Clout chasers and whatnot. It's also like the flood of AI slop that's all over YouTube. I would say in my recommended feed, only 10% of what I see in there now are actual live people. It surprises me. That everyone has talked about AI and how scared they are of it and whatnot, but it hasn't stopped millions of people from flooding YouTube with algorithm focused AI slop meant to get quick, easy views for revenue. And a lot of it is in the religious space. A lot of it is AI videos about Jesus and the Shroud of Turin and the Nephilim and all that. Just trash. Just trash flooding the feed. And having the little thing pop up in the upper left corner from YouTube saying this is, AI altered content detected. That ain't going to do anything to stop it. Because you know who it affects the most? Old people. Old people that don't realize that what they're watching is fake. That's who it affects the most. I have family members that are up in their 70s, and for whatever reason, they watch YouTube more than they watch anything else. And they love those AI-generated videos where it's like telling a story about someone that got divorced and all the legal troubles that they went through, and all of the, it's spoken through an AI voice and everything is AI generated. Back in the day, those kind of videos were made playing over Minecraft footage for some reason. Well, now they have actual AI footage to go along with the narrative of the story. Old people love watching those, not realizing that all the stories are fake. Those AI videos of being pulled by gorillas, yeah. Or the AI videos of Sasquatch doing wacky stuff. Those are still around too. I don't know anything about Sniper Wolf. Don't know anything about her. give you an idea of the effect this stuff has on you, here's what I've had to eat today. I've had one protein bar and 2 pieces of like leftover chicken pizza. That's all I've had today. I noticed something weird the other day. I turned on my Amazon Prime app on PS5, and what was right there on the front page? A live stream from Jacksepticeye. You can watch Jacksepticeye on Amazon now. What is up with that? I'm 47 and I like going to sleep listening to trucker horror stories. Well, alrighty then. No, Jack Move never got a job that's not YouTube. And as long as people are watching him and donating to him, he never will. None of these guys that are doing it for a living, they're not going to stop until the well runs dry. What's crazy to me is that there's, despite seeing so many of these channels dry up because the revenue stream dries up, there are still people out there that are like, I'm going to go full-time YouTube. And, the biggest their videos get are like 50 or 60,000 views. That's astounding to me. Yeah, Jack Move lives off of his YouTube, his donations, his memberships, his ad revenue. I mean, he don't have a wife, he don't have any kids. He doesn't have as much of a financial footprint to have to fill with YouTube as someone like me. So I get it, The irony of AI people using AI for their religion. Yeah. Do these people that, watch all of these AI religious videos and whatnot, do they not realize, I've watched a few of them if it was a subject that I was interested in, but I had not done all that much independent study on it. I've watched them just to see where there's, if they had sources and whatnot. But most of it is just AI crap. And some of these folks, they don't seem to realize that you're basically engaging in a form of idol worship. And I kind of feel that way about AI in general. Once it reaches a certain point, it's just, man attempting to replace God with a God of their own creation. And that is idol worship. Eventually there's going to be very little difference between, focusing your whole life around like Grok or Baal or Moloch, aside from the fact, the lack of child sacrifice maybe, but it's still idol worship either way. It's putting your faith and trust in a God made with human hands. We've got about 30 minutes left, folks. 30 minutes left. We've had a single $7 donation from Dark Star Archangel. iRobot, maybe. Never can tell. Never can tell. I really think that's the real reason why Elon Musk backed off of the whole Doge thing. I think Trump got paranoid about Chinese AI and Chinese robotics. And he was like, look, we don't need you for this Doge thing. You need to go back to Texas and get your AI and robotics working ASAP so we can beat China to the market on it. I really think that's what happened. Because what Musk has done is he's linked all of his stuff into the same core system. So Grok, his Optimus robots, the Tesla self-driving cars, all of it ties into the same AI system. They're all feeding each other and they're all teaching each other. Because one of the big differences between Tesla's AI and these other AI models out there like Google and whatnot, Tesla's is visually based. It's all through camera. So every time a Tesla car is driving around, that camera is capturing data from all four sides of the car and sending it back to feed into Optimus and whatnot. And when the Optimus robots are walking around and they're looking at computer monitors and typing on things, they're learning the stuff visually and sending it back into the system. And it all feeds itself in a perpetual loop. It's not the way the other AI systems work. It's kind of fascinating, really. Shit, I pay all these streaming platforms. Quickly went to YouTube, saw 7th stream, and thought I'd stay here. Well, I appreciate it. You got iShowSpeed and Jake Paul on WWE. Yeah, I know. It's kind of irritating, isn't it? I mean, I haven't really been into WWE in a long time. I mean, all these videos that I've watched of CM Punk recently and Danhausen is the most WWE stuff I've watched in years. Because, you know, I will say this, Danhausen is hilarious. He cracks me up. He's like a satire of The Undertaker. He does the sitting up thing like Undertaker does. He can you know, cause things to happen and apparently has supernatural powers like The Undertaker. You know, he's Undertaker but a joke Undertaker, and I like that. It's fun. I like Grok. I use Grok a lot, but not to take over any actual functions, but just to help me along with stuff that I'm able to get it done faster with Grok. Like, for example, like I said earlier, I've been working on a new book, and I told Grok about the general plot of the book, who the main characters were, and what the big set pieces were, and you know, subplots and all that, and fed it into it. And I said, give me an outline of the plot of this book, separated by chapters, and it did. And so I'm using that to keep myself focused on the overall path of the plot line as I write it. So that it's helped out quite a bit. It even gave me some suggestions that were plot lines that I had already thought of, but I just hadn't fed them to it yet. And based on the stuff that I gave it, it kind of predicted the ideas that I was going to be going towards and adding them into it, which is kind of scary. It also provided artwork, because the book's going to have an appendix that is supposed to be pictures that was drawn by like a 13-year-old boy. And it drew those pictures and gave them to me, and it was exactly what I wanted out of them. They look like a 13-year-old drew them. Well, a couple of them look a little bit too good for a 13-year-old to draw it, but, you know, those I sent it back and I said, these look too much like an AI-generated image. And it gave me a front and back cover for the book. It looks great. It looks just like a cover for a Stephen King paperback book from like 1986, which is exactly what I wanted. that is one thing, Mike C. Talking to Grok, I hate to say this, but it's way more down to earth. It's like just talking to some dude you know, as opposed to talking to some, high and mighty, super intelligent, blah, blah, blah. It talks to you like it's just another guy. And it's all fake, but I don't know, it just makes it less annoying to work with. Like we were talking about, I swear this is true. We were talking about the book, and I said, in light of this, and I mentioned a character, and in light of this, and I mentioned a plot point, I said, what if we did this? And it thought about for a second, and it was like, oh man, that's the shit. You've definitely got to use that. And here's where I would suggest you put it. It should go right between here and here. And what might be a good idea is also to include this character in it because blah, 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 blah. It's crazy, man. But it's almost as though me and Order 42, Rob, were just sitting across from each other, bouncing off ideas for the books we're writing. That's almost what it feels like. It's almost creepy. What's healthier, black coffee or green tea? I would have no idea. I have no idea. Why would you think I would know that? "27 minutes left, folks. 27 minutes left. I don't know, man. Next time I stream, I'm going to have some caffeine to try to pump me up because I am just blasted. And I'm not hungry or anything, of course. I'm not hungry at all. I'm not even thirsty. I'm just drained. Bereft of energy. Just, ugh. Well, yeah, I'll have me another glass of tea when I get done with this, but still, I should have drank something with some caffeine in it before I sat down to do this show to kind of give me some pep, because making it through these 3 hours has been a slog. An absolute energetic slog. I was already drained when I sat down, and now I really feel drained. Especially since y'all only donated $7. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Hi, Sage J. Nice servers. Those aren't servers. That's my game collection. Servers in the background. That's one of my game shelves. Nice servers in the background. Ugh, ugh, ugh. And you see, 7 or 8 months ago, I'd be ending this stream in 25 minutes, and I'd be going over to my recliner, turning on my TV, and switching to the Game Chaser channel to be watching Billy live. That was my routine several months ago. Yeah. The stuff on the right, not the shelves. The stuff on the right. Are you talking about that shelf back in the corner right here? Are you talking about that? That's not a server rack. That's the shelf I keep my game consoles on, my retro game consoles. That's a shelf that's got like Dreamcast and Atari 2600 and Sega Saturn and all that stuff is sitting right there. And right there, that's my retro corner. That's a futon couch, and sitting in front of that futon couch is a Sony Trinitron CRT for playing all those consoles. I don't know why you would think I'd have a server rack set up in here. What would I be using it for? Bitcoin mining? Come on. Come on. Anybody else besides me got double jointed thumbs? Yeah, I can bend them this way. I can bend them this way. Nod down the VHS players on your... I don't have any VHS players on my left. Are you high? To my left is a stack of Blu-rays and movies. Behind me is a pinball machine. Behind there are my recliners. There are no VHS anywhere. There are no server racks anywhere. I think you need to go get your eyes checked. Something's amiss. I've even given a tour of this room. I did a game room tour that showed this room and 8th's domain upstairs. Did you see any server racks or VHS racks or anything like that? No. What's the matter with you? I don't want to switch to PC gaming, but it's looking like I'm going to have to. If everything goes all digital, you might as well. So many people still haven't watched that video. I know. Used to, I could count on at least 2,000 people watching that game room tour. This one, I still don't even think it's broke 1,000 yet. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened there. It was disappointing. I put a lot of work into that video. And me and 8th had fun making it. Those are pretty much the only videos that 8th participates with me anymore. Our game room tours. He has fun making those. It's at 957 views. Yeah, isn't that crazy? You've got guys on there now that don't have a fraction of my sub count that'll put up a game room tour and get more views than that. I don't know what the hell. And my room, a lot bigger than theirs. You watch, this is my game room tour. They have like one little shelf of shit sitting next to their computer desk. That's their game room tour. 1,700 views. Explain that to me. I show you an entire house full of stuff. 957 views. The biggest my game room has ever been. 957 views. Yep. Yep. I don't get it. Don't get it at all. Here comes the rain again. It seems like it's going to be on again, off again all night long. All night long. All night. all night long, all night. Yes. Everyone you meet is dancing in the street all night long. Meanwhile, weather.com forecast doesn't even show there being any damn clouds over my town right now. So where's it all coming from? Says the rain will stop in 15 minutes. How do you know that when you're not even showing any clouds over my town? Y'all crazy. 15 minutes, folks. 15 minutes left and a whopping $7 in donations. Don't play that dumbass shit with me, Shadow Deist. You've been banned for less. You just said a couple of lines up, so you went back to vaping. So you know very well what I'm putting here. Don't be a dumbass. I'll send you out without a second thought about it. I've done it before. I can tolerate trolling. What I'm not going to tolerate is dumbassery. Don't be a dumbass troll. I can even tolerate alien magi coming in here and trying to trick me into using the N-word. I can put up with that. I'm not going to put up with you already pointing out that you know exactly what I'm doing and then asking me what I'm doing. Don't do that stupid shit. Yeah, there's smoke coming out of my mouth because my stomach's on fire. You dumb shit. You know, trolling used to be entertaining 17 years ago. Now it just gets dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber. You're the idiocracy of trolling. Unreal. You know, trolling is designed by nature to elicit a reaction, but the reaction you elicit shouldn't be for people to point out how bad you suck at trolling. You know what I'm saying? Go back to the drawing board. Come back when you've got something new to show me. I might watch that Willow tonight. I might watch that tonight. 8th has been on a kick of rewatching the Planet of the Apes movies. Not the original ones, the ones from a few years ago. And I really like them myself. I do. But you watch the original 3. I'm not as hot on that 4th one that came out a couple of years ago. But you watch the original 3, and it's... maybe halfway through the 2nd one, you realize what it is. It's Monkey Moses. It's the story of Moses, but it's monkeys. It's Caesar trying to get his people out of bondage and into the promised land. And at the very end, the exact same thing that happened to Moses happens to Caesar. He gets them to the promised land, but he dies without entering it himself. He gets to see it, but he doesn't get to live it. And he dies right there. It's Monkey Moses, folks. Monkey Moses. I'm off 7th. Have a good night. See ya, Catholic cowboy. Did you like the one with Mark Wahlberg? Oh, the Danny Elfman one. I was on board with it. Not Danny Elfman. He did the music. Tim Burton. The Tim Burton one. I was on board for it, even though I generally can't stand Mark Wahlberg because he plays the same performance in everything. You know, the only time he's ever played a different character than himself is that one where he played the obsessed boyfriend. What was that called? Fear or something like that? You know, so let me in the house. You know, that guy. Yeah, that's the only time he's really played against his character, which his character is himself. Even when he did Rockstar, he was still kind of playing himself. And so, but you know, I was willing to let that slide for this movie, and I was on board with it. Right up until that dumbass monkey Abraham Lincoln statue. That, because it didn't work. They were trying to replicate finding the Statue of Liberty, but it just didn't work the way that they intended it to work. I mean, I know they implied that Tim Roth's character went back in time and changed history, and so he manages to get back to his own correct time, but everything has been changed to where everything's run by monkeys now. I know that's what it was supposed to imply, but it still just didn't have the impact of Charlton Heston seeing that broken Statue of Liberty sticking up out of the sand. Now, what's interesting about the trilogy of the most recent films is they were setting them up as being a reboot, but also prequels to the original ape films, because they reference it all through it. Like in the background, you see the first one, you see a news story about them launching astronauts into space, and then later on in the movie, you see this very brief mention of the astronauts crash landing on Mars. Well, they didn't actually crash land on Mars. They went into a wormhole, and so they're setting up for the astronauts showing back up hundreds of years later. But at the same time, they're naming characters of some of these monkeys, these apes, based on the characters from the original film, like Dr. Cornelius, for example. Caesar names his second son Cornelius. In the third one, they meet a little girl and they name her Nova. But these are events that are supposed to happen 400 or 500 years after all this, or thousands of years later, or even, where the monkeys have further evolved to be more human-like. So the timeline didn't make any sense anyway, but they kept dropping all these hints to the original trilogy that that's where they were headed towards, and then they didn't do it. You know, they came out with this fourth movie, and it had nothing to do with bridging the original trilogy to the original films. Nothing. Abraham Lincoln, yeah. General Thade was a good villain. And, you know, I think Tim Burton made the right call in sticking with makeup instead of CG for the apes. And I think it was Rick Baker that did it. Whoever it was, they did a tremendous job with both paying homage to the original makeup, but modernizing it to where it looked more realistic, especially with their speech. I think they did a tremendous job with the makeup, and I liked the way it looked. F at 7th, jump on the bandwagon of reaction with zero effort videos just for the shits and giggles and watch your views and donations go up. I'll never do that. I'll never do it. You will not see that kind of content out of me. Ever. If I can't make the videos that I want to make and talk about the type of things I want to talk about, I won't be on here. It never was about money. I always appreciate y'all when you donate, and it has helped out time and again over the last 17 years. But it's never been what my channel was about or focused on, and it never will be. Andy Serkis did a tremendous job with Caesar on those three films. You know, it's incredible acting performance. Just totally underrated. He doesn't get enough credit for what he did on those ape films. It was way above and beyond even what he managed with Gollum for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. What he did for those ape films, he should have gotten an Oscar for it. For real. But Hollywood don't work that way. It don't work that way. Plus, I have a kind of an emotional attachment to it because Caesar was the name of my German Shepherd when I was a kid. You've heard me talk about him before. He was a very, very smart dog. Big old loving thing. Biggest dog I've ever had. He stood 24 inches tall at the shoulder. So like when his head was up, he was over 3 feet tall. He had 8 inches of space between the ears. A huge head for a German Shepherd. He was very large for the German Shepherd breed. He could carry me around on his back like a horse up until the time I got to be about 4 years old. I could ride him like a horse till I was 4 years old. Loved that dog. Loved that dog. And he guarded over me like I was his own pup. Absolutely destroyed me when he had to be put down. He got distemper in his, and he got distemper and hip dysplasia in his rear hips, in his hips. And that it took him down at around, he was almost 13 years old. And that was my first real encounter with death, aside from my mom. When I was a kid, you know, my mom was heavily active in the church. And so every time somebody at the church died, she would go to the funeral and she would drag me with her. So I was, you know, here I am, you know, in kindergarten, I'm going to funerals a lot. But my first personal encounter with death was when Caesar had to be put down. And my parents, they didn't even tell me he was sick. You know, I just came home one day and my dad tells me he had to have him put to sleep. I was very upset because I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to him, nothing, because I didn't even know he was sick. I was going downstairs and he was, you know, laying on his cot the way he always did when he wasn't up, you know, moving around or whatnot. That's where you could usually find him, was laying on his cot. And I was going down there and, you know, hugging on him and whatnot. And he would react the way he always did, like there was nothing wrong with him. I didn't know he was sick. What I didn't know was that he had lost the ability to walk. And my parents didn't tell me. I just come home and he's dead. And it hit me pretty hard. Favorite dog breed? Without question, Chihuahuas. I've had mostly Chihuahuas all my life. I've had one rat terrier, and I've had a Chiweenie, which was a mix of Chihuahua and Dachshund. I've had a German Shepherd, and I've had, very briefly, I had a Russell Terrier, but that dog was too wily and too energetic and was tearing up the house, so we had to give her away. But every other dog that I've had, Chihuahua. You'll never find a dog that's more loyal or loves you more than a Chihuahua. Especially if you get a smart one. Smart Chihuahuas, they're like having a 4-year-old following you around. For real. Right up to the point of being able to say basic sentences like, want out, want water, want, yum yum when they want something to eat. You can train a smart Chihuahua to do that shit. My Chihuahua, one of my last Chihuahuas that I had, a pure Chihuahua, he had problem solving. You know, he could solve complex problems. Well, complex for a dog. Like, they've put that plate of brownies where I can't get to them. How can I get to those brownies? And you'll sit and watch him. You could sit and watch him work it out in his head. And then when he didn't think you were watching him, he would execute his plan. He'd seek revenge, too. If you wronged him, he'd seek revenge. Funny little dog. I still miss him. He passed away somewhere around 2007 or so. 2006, 2007. He was 16. No, I don't want a guard dog. Don't need a guard dog. Big dogs don't live as long. They're more expensive. And they leave bigger messes. I like little dogs because they can stay around me all the time. They don't have to go outside, and I only get to play with them when I bring them in or something like that. Little dogs, they stay with you. They can sit on your lap and just keep you company when you're by yourself. You know, they'll back up into that little corner between you and your armrest, and they'll just tuck in, and they're happy as a pig in shit, staying right there with you. And when you come home, every time you come home, they act like you've been gone for years. And they just hop up on your lap and they smother you with affection. And anytime they think something's wrong with you, they're rushing up to check on you, especially females. Female Chihuahuas become the mother of the house. They go around, they check on everybody. And that's what Alex is, our little pug Chihuahua mix. That's what she is. You know, she's constantly running back between me and Eighth, making sure that we're okay. If Eighth sneezes, she's wanting to run up there to check on him. If I'm coughing, she's coming up, you know, checking me out. My first Dachshund made it to 17. I had him for 15 years. The oldest one that I ever had was a Chihuahua Feist mix. Her name was Missy. She passed away in 1987 when I was around 12 or 13, somewhere around in there. And she was 23 going on 24 when she passed. And she was really the mother of the house. The night before she died in her sleep, and the night before she died, she went to every bedroom in the house and sat down with every person and spent time with them until it came to be bedtime, and she walked into her little area of the bathroom where she slept, laid down on her pillow, went to sleep, and never woke up. She knew she was going, and so she took the time to spend time with everyone she loved before she left. And that's why I love Chihuahuas. No, I don't got no cats. Screw cats. Screw cats. Don't care about cats. Don't want no cats. Never have liked cats. Cats seem to like me, but I don't like them. Anyway, it's 9 o'clock. This is where we say goodbye. Thanks to everybody that showed up. Thanks, Dark Star, for donating $7. Thanks, Povo the Clown, for subscribing. I'm going to hit the old dusty trail just like a horse turd, and I will see y'all later. Same 7th time, same 7th channel.